green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Cars spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. How's it going, everybody?
Anyways.
That's a bit of a joke that we will never let anyone in on.
Yeah, never address.
Yeah. Well, what's up, everybody? It is the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. It is November, and it's hot. Not just in the sense that I'm in Tennessee and it's warmer than it's ever been on my birthday week, but NASCAR right now is the hot thing all over the country, on social media, everywhere you look. NASCAR stuff. It's like it's 2005. We have tons to talk about today. I don't know how else to talk about it. And usually I like waiting for like the big story, but we have like 12 big stories. We just found out as we were getting ready that Jimmie Johnson, in a way, is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
in
not
a major
even
way.
In a major way, and that's not even the headline story today. It's Ross frickin' Chastain. Oh my gosh. Eric, lead us off. What are your thoughts on, what are we calling this? The Hail Melon or the Martinsville Miracle? Hail Melon with the Miracle? Like, what? Lead us off. I'm
like
still
Hail
speechless.
Melon. I like them all. Any melon puns I'm happy with. Yeah, I was watching the end of that race, and I was going through a roller coaster of emotions. Chase Briscoe staying out, had his teammate Cole Custer in second playing some defense for a moment there, and I think I even tweeted this. I'm like, Chase Briscoe's going to win this race. And I like Chase Briscoe a lot, but on my show just a week earlier, I told everyone watching there is zero chance Chase Briscoe wins at Martinsville. You can take it to the bank. So I was about to get exposed in the biggest way possible. So I was down. I was like, oh, gosh. Then Bell finally clears for third, gets around Keselowski for second. I'm like, oh, see, Bell going to do another clutch victory. I love it. All right. And my mood changed around dramatically. I was all pumped. What a storyline. And then there's little red car, like Herbie the Love Bug up on the fence at the end of Herbie Fully Loaded, just comes flying into my picture. Where did he come from? He's in the playoff. He's in the championship 4. I don't know how that worked. I mean, I guess I do. I understand these cars are very firm, very rigid. Probably doesn't work that well in the old car where it would have given a little bit. But with this tough next-gen car, he made it happen. I don't know. Is it the most skillful move? No, not at all. It's a gutsy move. That's what you have to give Ross Chastain credit for. The creativity, other drivers have sort of kind of tried versions of, but no one's just committed the way Ross Chastain did and made it work. So I know we'll talk about in a minute if it should continue going forward, if this should become an actual consistent strategy. But if this is the first and only time we ever see it work, kudos to Ross Chastain, boy. It broke the internet, the media sphere for a week, and he deserves all the credit for trying something.
Danny, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I just got to say for Eric, those are some nice colors that Christopher Bell at one in, isn't it?
Nice face, nice
true,
image.
Yes. We love the black and yellow here, absolutely.
But yeah, another clutch win for Christopher Bell. You know, I will probably talk about this on my channel either tomorrow or Friday, but all 4 of these guys, you can lobby for reasons of why they could win a championship, but for Bell specifically, it's got to be he's clutch right when he needs to be. He was clutch at Martinsville, he was clutch at the Roval, and you know, I think the 20 team is popping off right at the right time. But NASCAR 2005, who would have ever thought that would be brought up in 2022 by someone other than one of us saying, I love that game?
What do you think, Darren? I tried to mute it, but there's just cop cars and,
I can hear it
fire
now.
trucks and ambulances going by. There's still people that are in shock having to get medical attention from this race. What are your thoughts on it?
Really quick, before I get into them, first and foremost, in light of the recent news, RIP to the one and only Takeoff. That was a tragedy. But other than that, holy crap, what a freaking move, my guy. Oh, my goodness. Like, I mean, I was just like Eric. I was just watching the race. I was like, yeah, another clutch win by Christopher Bell, man. So that makes 2 clutch wins in the playoffs that could potentially propel him to a championship. But then Ross Chastain just steals the show and just rides the wall the entire way. And one of the most interesting quotes too is like he said that he let go of the wheel. He just let it that takes the meaning of what's that one song? Oh yeah, Jesus Take the Wheel to a whole nother level. Friggin' Jesus Take the Wheel and take me to the Cup Series championship. That's exactly what happened, man. And you got to feel for a driver like Denny Hamlin too, man. Just one of the most snake-bitten drivers in NASCAR history, and ends up losing to his rival.
Imagine what was going through Hamlin's mind at that point. Yep, I'm in. How did you get here?
Hey, dude, Denny Hamlin, he was minding his own business, and he even said afterwards, like, he was asked, like by someone, like, hey, could you have blocked that last minute? And he quickly said no, no, like, he did not see him at all, too. And one of the funniest reactions, though, Michael Marutz, go watch his stream, because he watched it live on, like, the NASCAR app and all that stuff on his live stream, and oh my gosh, everyone was going crazy. But, hey, for all the stuff we've given Ross Chastain about, certain times he's aggressive, he should just, obviously he should have a little bit better driver etiquette and stuff too. I've maintained for like most of the year, like, look, that's who he is and stuff. And look, it's gotten to taking these risks have ultimately gotten him to a championship, and Denny Hamlin, he said all these quotes like, oh, it's not gonna be good for him, come playoff time. But sorry, Denny, in the end, Chastain won.
I specifically remember Jeff Burton saying, and I quote, he's not going to make it to Phoenix. They're not going to let him.
Well, they let him, man. I think Chastain's strategy was basically, okay, I'll get all my aggressiveness out of the way because he's been quiet for a while, So maybe they sort of forgot about it.
I'll be real. When I saw him going on the high side, because I was like, okay, it's set, and I'm writing down the final 4, taking all my notes I take, and I just look up and see him, and I'm like, what in the actual, bleep, 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 bleep. I just kept saying the same sentence over and over again because I couldn't comprehend what I had seen. And then at that point, I just laughed at it. I'll be completely honest. I just laughed at it.
It was crazy. But then what was sad to me at the time, too, now that I think about this, my first immediate thought was like, is NASCAR going to allow that? But then I'm like, wait, no, there's no rule against it. It's like, no, they can't do nothing.
I will say this. If anyone's seen it it's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's probably on TikTok. Somebody did an awesome edit of it where they had Freebird playing right before he gets into the corner, and it fits perfectly. Absolutely perfectly.
There's been a ton of edits about it, or on it now, like a ton of cool ones.
Well, speaking of stuff with social media, I want to read some of this stuff off because I will actually make a point to say this, and at least for this season, at least for recent memory, but I would say this is probably one of the biggest moments ever in NASCAR, like possibly on the level of the 79 Daytona 500. When you look at, and this was from yesterday, so the numbers are probably much, much, much higher. The social media views for this finish, for Chastain doing that, are off the charts. On YouTube alone, yesterday it had 2.9 million views, which is more than the Martinsville race itself got. On Facebook, it had 13.5 million views, which is more than any NASCAR race in 10 years. On Twitter, it had almost 31 million views, which is about the most amount of people who have ever watched a race. And on TikTok, it had 54 million views. Altogether, it was at about 101 million people, 101 million views. And I would probably say, I'd guess at least half to 60% of them were all individual different people. So it's like it was the number one trend on Twitter. It was number one on SportsCenter. People like Pat McAfee and that one dude from Barstool that always craps on the Vikings. It's a Bears fan. I don't know his name, but I just know that it's funny watching him crap on the Vikings with his team. But you see, all these people who don't talk NASCAR, and you can tell they don't talk NASCAR because they seem like they're like Ross Chastain.
into the
Just saying.
championship event.
Yeah, I mean,
he
it's
wins
always
the
a-
championship. Oh no, in the race. Okay.
Yeah, have you noticed every time they like if you go on one of these, they talk about it, they're talking the entire time in questions. Like Ross
They just-
Chastain is in
Chastain?
the NASCAR playoffs.
Playoffs? Why?
Playoffs? NASCAR is playoffs? What?
Playoffs. It's a
But dude,
damn
the
good
chase?
culture.
It's good to finally see NASCAR have some great PR finally throughout the entire, during the
For something
playoffs.
positive, for not
yeah, something
for
positive,
not
man.
a near deadly crash, for not some horrible off track controversy or
Yeah.
a fight necessary. And fights aren't necessarily always bad, but this is better. This is a positive thing. But
Part of the reason that y'all said we kind of like had to crap on some of the people who don't talk about this is because of the fact that they don't talk about this and they don't know anything when they start talking about this.
Yeah, well, oh
it's
yeah, like
painfully
that.
obvious.
Oh yeah, like that one quote. Dale Earnhardt Jr. died. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
She loves NASCAR though, guys. It's her favorite thing ever.
She's new. She'll figure it
Yeah,
out. But
I appreciate the effort.
But what I was gonna
she's
say,
starting.
because I know this is next, and I feel like we just have to talk about it. Like all this positive publicity, should NASCAR make a rule going into next year to prevent you from wall riding at the finish?
Who wants to go first?
I'm interested to hear people's thoughts on this.
Danny, go ahead.
I'll start on this. I say no, and solely for the fact NASCAR is going to use this to profit, to market like crazy. If you market, this is what the sport's all about, and then you say, but they can't do that in the sport ever again, that's two-faced right there.
Well, I'm gonna say no off the fact that it's not gonna work at every single track. I mean,
It
there are
won't.
certain,
And
yeah,
it
there
probably
are
won't.
certain.
It probably wouldn't work again if someone went
Mm-hmm.
and tried it because they wouldn't. They can't hit it the same way every time.
Yeah. I mean, like, Chastain's, he's extremely talented. I feel like he's like, one of a few guys who could actually make that move work, But yeah, I mean, it's not going to work at every single track too. We've seen that in years past too. I mean, years ago, Carl Edwards tried, a similar version of it. Didn't end up working in the end. And then Larson did it too. Didn't end up working either. So I don't know, but as for Martinsville specifically though, I am curious, like if they don't add a rule for that specific track, then I'm really curious to see how many guys will end up trying to do it on the final lap.
That was a bold move to advance into the playoffs. Now, what happens if we're in a case like, I'm trying to think of a specific race. Okay, let's think back 2017 Martinsville race. Denny Hamlin doesn't wreck Chase Elliott. They keep going all the way to the line. And then let's say Hamlin's like, you know what? I'm just going to pass you on the outside. Here I go. I win.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I guess I also see one of the options on the poll that Jared had put. It's a wait and see thing. So I'm mostly no, but then part of me is like, yeah, I kind of want to wait and see what happens though, because I mean, if it does start to become a regular thing at like a Martinsville or maybe some of these other short tracks, then maybe perhaps we might have to put something in place. But for now, I say no.
So my problem with it, so if at Phoenix this weekend, because I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of folks have gone on to iRacing in the past few days and are testing this at different tracks.
Oh, you can get suspended for that too, by the way.
Yeah, well, and from what I can tell, I don't know that it would necessarily work at Phoenix, at least according to iRacing, but who really knows? But say at Phoenix this weekend, say Joey Logano wins the championship by ripping the top like that and passing Christopher Bell in the final lap. Are you going to be impressed? Will anyone be impressed, or will we all say, I saw that last week. He didn't take any skill to do that.
I'd be impressed at the fact that it did work again.
I'd be impressed. Okay.
I'd be impressed for one reason, and it's because I think I would say at Phoenix, with the way the radius of those corners are, based on the laws of physics, that wouldn't work. Like the reason it worked at Martinsville, and it would only work at Martinsville in my opinion, is because of how tight those corners are. That
and how slow they drive.
The force would bring him along. Mike Wheeler from 2311 had actually figured out that he was pulling over 5 Gs through that corner.
Someone check his head, make sure it's okay.
Yeah, well, regardless, I just think the next time we see it, it won't be nearly as impressive as it was this time. It won't be as exciting. It won't be as innovative. I think it'll feel cheap. And some people already feel like Ross Chastain's move was kind of a cheap shot. Hamlin beat him fair and square on that final run. He passed him. Chastain beat the crap out of his rear bumper. Hamlin still drove off away from him, passed a bunch of cars. And then Chastain threw the Hail Melon at the end and got it to work. So I don't know if they need a new rule right away. Maybe this is a wait and see. If somebody tries it again next year, you implement a rule. But I think there are enough safety concerns to justify a rule. Go ahead, Darren.
And I wanted to point this out too. One thing Alan Bessel had tweeted about it after the race, and the one thing he said that really resonated with me, he had said, "Thank goodness the fencing thing. Yeah, thank goodness his car didn't hit the gate thing neither, because I mean we saw what happened with Mike Harmon back in 2002.
So that's one of my concerns. My other safety concern is, we've heard all the replays of spotters from other cars being like, whoa, watch out. Whoa, there's a guy. Whoa, what is he doing? Oh my gosh. Imagine somebody comes up exit of 4 right in front of Ross Chastain, who's going 60 miles an hour faster, and he rear ends them. That's a concussion. Like there's no way that's not a concussion. So I think there's enough safety concerns to potentially justify a rule change. And then from a competition standpoint, I think we're all giving Chastain credit for guts and creativity. But it wasn't a skillful move. He may have practiced it because he knew to put it into 5th gear and kind of enter high, but I think everyone would know to enter high. And the 5th gear thing, maybe that was practice. Maybe that took skill or knowledge to know, but ultimately it's not a skillful move. He even said the wheel was not even in his hands. He just had his foot flat on the gas and was just riding the wall. So, do we want to routinely see that move decide races even if it's just Martinsville? Martinsville's a pivotal point on the schedule. It's the second to last race every year.
But it also was literally the way the cars was in the perfect position for him to do that. In a lot of races, like going down to the finish, there's cars that are just stacked up 12 deep. So it's not like every single time it would be that way. I say no rule for the fact that, because if you make it a blanket rule across the series, which is what NASCAR does with their rules for the most part, outside of like a double yellow line rule, when that's a completely different type of racing, is they'd probably do it at every track, because you saw Kyle Larson do it. I think Noah Gragson said he did it at one point in a varied way, and there was one other person who had done it. And what I say to that is, like, how do you enforce it? Because if it's the entire corner, well, then somebody just lets off at the end and they're off. If it's a majority of the corner, well, maybe something was up with their car. I feel like it's almost an unenforceable rule unless it's exactly what Ross Chastain did. And then at that point, you're getting more gray area calls that are just going to lead to the polar opposite of this and being just complete controversies instead. I don't like NASCAR having rules that are akin to the yellow line rule, where they can pick and choose who to penalize. I don't think honestly that most drivers would end up doing this and would do it again, because I don't personally see, especially because everyone's saying though there's going to be like 17, 18 cars to do this in the next Martinsville race.
I don't think that.
I don't think owners are going to put up with having to constantly have totaled cars for a Martinsville race into Phoenix, especially with this car. If you're able to use a fast car that you have at Martinsville at Phoenix and still go fast with, I almost feel like this is one that will be a self-policing move, that people will, the garage will police itself on this one, I think, more than NASCAR would.
Maybe. I don't know. I think sometimes you got to protect the drivers from themselves a little bit. I don't know. I feel like the next time somebody does this and it works, all the reporters will ask the person who got beat, why didn't you block the top? Why didn't you wreck your car and run the fence? Because that's what you're doing. You're basically saying, I'm going to sacrifice this car to win this race or to gain these positions. And I don't feel like you should have to crash your car to win or be put in the position where you have to decide whether or not to do that. Like it seems wacky to me. Great moment. I don't mean to be like a buzzkill. I understand maybe I'm in the minority here. And I'm agreeing that maybe we should wait and see if somebody tries it again before we enact some sort of rule. But I don't think we should just say for sure this is okay and it should be okay forever. I think if it happens again, it will not be nearly as special and it will get old really quick. I think that's all I think.
The only reason we're having the debate is because this is the one time it's worked. Because
it's also the first time it's been tried with this car, and I think this car makes it more workable. So
but they are
one for one with the next gen.
They are changing the next gen though next year.
Yeah,
especially
I don't think they're going to change it enough. I don't know. I think it'll still work next year. I don't know.
But also too, like, let's not forget this wasn't for a win neither too. It's like we have yet to see anybody do this and actually win a race. But hey, at least he made it to the championship race. Hey, at least he gained a lot of spots. So. That's
What
the
does the
crazy
poll
part about
say?
it.
What I haven't even looked. I'm sure
So-
that poll mostly says no.
We had 312 votes on it, and 45% say no, 37% say wait and see, and yes are good with a flat out ban.
Yeah, I'm on the wait and see lean towards yes, but I think those numbers are reasonable. I think
I-
fans are pretty well evenly split. Makes sense there.
Yeah.
I'm definitely on the no side of wait and see, just because if it is something that constantly happens, NASCAR would have to step in if the garage doesn't police itself. But I like just trying to give the drivers a chance to police themselves. We'll talk about it in a bit with the Xfinity Series, how that
Yeah, no,
probably
I
can be
agree.
done. So yeah, I guess I have a feeling if they do that, especially if they do that like right into the offseason, because the way Steve O'Donnell put it was, we're not going to do it before Phoenix, which
I'm
is
glad.
a way
I'm
of,
happy with that.
which yeah, I'm happy with that too. But it's a way of like I feel like that's just his way of saying, yeah, we're probably going to ban it in the offseason. And at that point, it's like that would be the number one story of the offseason is the move that got 100+ million views for NASCAR has been banned, and
Yeah,
they did it under the when everyone turned off the TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think a lot of race fans would understand why they did. I'm with you. Not everyone would agree, but I mean, I'm with you. I think they should wait until somebody actually does it again. If somebody does it again, ban it. Assuming it as accomplishes the exact same result. Say the exact same thing that Chastain just did happens next year. I think you got to ban it because it doesn't take skill. It takes guts. But at this point now, you know that it works. I don't even know if it takes guts. Just smash the gas and wreck your car for the
Just
position.
smash the
That's
gas
what it
and
comes
go.
down to. I mean, that's what it is. That's what he did.
Now
I don't know.
I want to look at what some of the because we'll do a full super chat segment in the hour mark or so of the show. But I want to look at what some of them that have to do with this say to see what people think. I see a lot of people in the chat saying don't ban or wait and see. Some of these here, for instance, okay, I know this is supposed to be a parody account, but I'll be completely honest, like the point they made is actually correct. But it's called NASCAR Shill says, Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, Ben Kennedy, and NASCAR executive staff in the playoffs made this race what it is. You got to give the playoffs props. And I'm going to say this. I mean, as somebody who is not for the playoffs, this would not have happened. And I will fully admit that.
Yeah.
No one would do this, and this actually goes back to the point I was going to make earlier. No one would do this to win the spring Martinsville race. No one would do this to win a random Martinsville race if it was in an old configuration where this didn't matter.
Yeah. So if you don't like playoffs, hey, they're definitely not going anywhere anytime soon. Just off of that move alone.
Antar Das had said for another super chat, Chastain rule is needed. Doesn't matter if it doesn't happen again, and also that NASCAR is going to use this as more justification for the playoffs. And he just wants fair racing, which I can respect that. And I will say, like, any conversation they may have had about getting rid of it, because I feel like there's been more of a push for that from fans this year and even industry. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. Like, that's not happening. This just produced what is possibly the biggest volume viewership of NASCAR in any form ever. So there's no way in hell you can take that away at this point. Looking at, let's see, some of the other ones in here. I just want to make sure that here's one. Hunter Nixon Fishing for 10 says, as someone who hates the playoff system, I will admit Chastain with his video game move at the end. If you say that wasn't exciting, you're lying to yourself.
And
Like-
I agree with Hunter, and also Hunter, because I know who you are. Go Vols. We're going to make your dogs this weekend.
Like, dude, I couldn't stop thinking about that move all night. Usually after, a race or whatever, no matter how it is, I eventually get over it, move on to something else, watching something else. But I just kept thinking about it the entire night. I'm like, how did that actually work?
This dude in the
I
chat
was-
saying they should design the wall and put razors on it that will cut your tires.
I
That's all I-
forget who it was. It was someone in a truck series, one of the truck series teams, put like those little like
A little shopping cart type
yeah,
wheels.
shopping cart wheels on the
Scott
side of it.
Zipadelli, Scott Zipadelli, the crew chief on one of the truck teams. Yeah, he put that. That was funny.
I'm low key. I'm like, can we just get like a one single car to do this and see what would happen?
Well, I like this one from Robert in the chat. Rubbing is racing, right? He rubbed the wall, not another car.
yeah, technically, yeah. You ain't lying.
Yeah.
some of the other ones, TJ Morstead left a fitty, and he said, "We know with Chastain's move, the playoffs will never go away." I think that's like the underlying thought of it with fans here. He says, "But maybe instead of making a rule, it's time to revamp the playoffs in a way again. Possibly not having Martinsville as a cutoff race, so this move isn't encouraged there every year."
If you swap this race for a track like Bristol, the weather's going to be similar both times of year. So
I don't know. I'm just gonna stop him right there. Is they just sold this place out for the first time in
Yeah,
16
I don't
years.
think
yeah.
I don't know. I know it doesn't always get the best TV ratings, but this has been a banger of
But-
a race 3 or 4 years in a row at least. So
But as far as the move is concerned too, it definitely took away from some of the other opinions on this race earlier too, because especially early in the race there was like a lot of negativity early on. But nope, Chastain makes the move, and then bam, just everyone forgets about it.
And I guess moving to just talking about the full race itself,
It was okay.
It wasn't like a Hall of Fame Martinsville race for the first 475 laps or so, but I thought that it was honestly a good race. It wasn't one of my favorites ever. It was still a little too hard to pass from what drivers had even said, but you could pass a lot more than you could in the spring. You could make moves.
Yeah.
You could bump people out of the way. Credit to Goodyear. The tire change they made worked a ton because the tire fall off, while it was immediate, it was very apparent. Like we were talking about with Chase Briscoe. It's like he's fine, over the cliff.
Yeah.
it was like 60, 70 laps of not much. Like they'd pass a lot right on the restart and then be like, you'd ride in line for 60 or 70 laps. But then we had enough long runs in the first couple stages where then you'd go 60 laps of great racing where there's 2 lanes sort of almost, and some tire fall off, you could bump people, get them loose. And so it was like long runs were almost preferred over short runs in this race, which is kind of a weird backwards world.
It was definitely better than the spring race, of course, but there's still a lot of work to do with the short track package of this next gen car. But yeah, this race was definitely okay. Definitely better than the spring race for sure.
For sure. I don't want to gloss over Christopher Bell too much. Sorry, I didn't mean to move on.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about Bell a little bit because he 2 clutch wins in these playoffs. I think they showed a graphic at one point. It was like only 4 or 5 times has a driver entered a cutoff race below the cut line and won their way in. One of them was Bell at the Roval. Bell is now 2, I think, of the 6 or 7 on that list. So like, someone in the chat earlier said Clutch Bell should be his new nickname. I agree.
It's starting to feel a little bit like Chase Elliott did in 2020 because he started winning right when it was needed the most.
That and 2014 Kevin Harvick, I think.
I was just about to mention that. I think there was Kevin Harvick also put up 2 clutch wins to make it to the championship 4. Or no, I think one of them took place in 2014, and then Dover 2015 he needed to win that race to move on to the next round too.
I remember Keselowski, I think in 14 had to win Talladega pretty much, and he did, which like Talladega, that's a tough one to.
Oh no, I think Harvick needed to win Charlotte in 2014 as well to help him advance, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, there was 2 in 2014. But yeah, no, hey, Christopher Bell, man, Jarrett, your championship pick, man, it's gonna happen.
I knew all along.
I don't even remember who I picked to win the championship. I don't even remember, but no, your pick though, I definitely remember for sure.
I'm way wrong. I was Tyler Reddick, so.
I had actually my final 4. I was 1 away. I had Kyle Larson instead of Ross Chastain. So either way,
I forgot who I had. I know I had Elliott.
Yeah, I don't remember it either.
Oh wait, no. I had Tyler Reddick in my final 4. I did not have him winning.
Yeah, I had
Eric had him winning it. Yes.
Oh yeah.
I'm still honestly surprised just because of him being put in that hole starting out with Las Vegas with the incident with Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson. And, credit to him. This team has been, I would say, the epitome of resilient this year. No matter what happens, having a horrible start to the season, and then by the time the playoffs start, they're one of the 4 or 5 best teams. Whether it's getting pushed way below the line before the cutoff race of either of the last 2 rounds, and they end up going out there and getting a win. And each win, in my opinion, really, and we'll talk about these final 4 guys in a bit, so I won't go too in depth, but like these playoff wins to me epitomize 2 of their biggest strengths, and I think they have been the most overlooked team in the playoffs, especially since they scored so many points early on too.
Yeah, and also too. Oh, go ahead, Eric. You go.
Oh, I was just kidding. We noted they were the most consistent JGR team, kind of coming into the playoffs, and now they've turned that consistency into wins. So that's why, yeah, like I wasn't sure if I bought Rep Bell as a championship threat, 9 weeks ago. Yeah, he had a chance, but I wouldn't have considered him a favorite. Yeah, over the last 9 weeks, the speed is clearly there. Sorry, Darren, go ahead.
And also, just really quick, looking at on his racing reference. Oh boy, another YouTuber using racing reference again. But no, anyways, looking at his starts of the season, his first 5 races of the season: Daytona 34th, Fontana 36th, Las Vegas
really bad.
got a 10th at Las Vegas, but then Phoenix 26th, Atlanta 23rd, and then he began to turn it around and in Austin with a 3rd place finish. So they were as low as 36 in the standings. Now that was after the second race of the season, but then when you go after when you advance to after 4 or 5 races, as low as 30th. And now they're in the championship 4. And we were talking about them early in the year. We were like, what is going on with this team, man? Like, I mean, I don't think anyone really predicted him to be in the championship 4 early in the season, in the 2022 preseason. Did you predict him to be in the championship 4 in the preseason?
I think I did.
Okay.
I might not have. I know he was like one of the guys who I was considering for it. I at least
had him in the playoffs. I
had him in the playoffs. I had him in the round of 8 or 12, but not championship 4. I don't think.
Maybe but after that start to the season, we're all like, well, what the hell is going on with this team, man? But no, they turned it around.
I better go back, because if I got that one right, if like I picked the championship right before the season, right after picking Bowman's breakout season 2 years in a row, like I need to actually pay attention to my own predictions. But if it's real quick, I want to get to 2 guys before we talk more about Bell and the other guys in the championship 4. But I want to talk about the current and future driver of the 8 car. Starting out with Tyler Reddick.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Reddick basically parks himself. He's cleared this week because we all had worried he got a concussion in that Homestead crash. They didn't show too much of him getting out of the car, but I don't know about you guys, but it seemed like he was a bit out of it.
He definitely didn't look 100%, but also too, like, there was a PR rep with RCR who talked to Bianchi, the reporter, and he had said that Tyler Reddick wasn't feeling well throughout the week, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, if he wasn't feeling well throughout the week, like, why was he like cleared to race? But I guess he felt good enough to race, not necessarily 100%, but
it was interesting because Reddick 2 days ago went on Sirius XM NASCAR radio and said that he felt fine after the Homestead crash, but that he kind of hurt his wrist, like on the wheel. So maybe that's what he was bothering him during the week. It wasn't a head injury concern. So I don't, because that was weird too, because the rep said, he was kind of feeling bad all week, but then Reddick was like, no, I felt fine. Well, my wrist hurt a little bit, but I felt fine.
Yeah, I was confused. I'm like, so which is it? So
I don't know, but it sounds like maybe a minor head injury, not necessarily rising to the level of a concussion. He's been cleared multiple times now by doctors this week to race, so that's good, but still a concern because it sounds like the worst impact came on a restart when he got rear-ended by somebody, and that's concerning when you just get hit on a restart. That's on a slow track like Martinsville. Like that shouldn't hurt a guy so bad. But next year, new piece.
And then the other driver of the 8 car, as in the guy who'll be the driver in less than a week's time at this point, Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch may have had the worst, green flag to checker flag race of his career. Like I don't think it's. I mean, he was getting outrun by Rick Ware racing cars before.
By BJ McLeod as well.
He was last place at the end of stage 1.
He actually, let me, I'm going to pull up the finishing results real quick to be sure. I know he finished behind him, but he might have finished laps behind this person, if I'm not mistaken, or at least on the same lap of Cody Ware.
Ugh.
He finished a lap behind Cody Ware off of speed.
Yeah.
So Ware finished 5 down, he finished 6 down.
Now, I want to ask you guys, what does that tell y'all? Does that tell y'all, like, hey, Kyle Busch is just, I don't know, he can't wait to go to his other team next year? Or is the team just, not really putting in as much effort as they did earlier?
It's both. He had a bad car. He's probably not involved in any meetings. He's probably not doing any extra sim work. It's both. I think the team gave him a really bad car. And then I think Kyle Busch, if he was still in a points battle, he would have grinded. He would have communicated, which apparently he did not do like at all in stage 1. He barely said anything about what
The car was so bad, I guess.
Yeah, he
didn't
didn't say a word from what I heard myself and what other people were saying. So the team gave him a bad car. I mean, JGR's quit on him. He's not going to be a part of their future, so they don't care about him. And then he quit in the race. Kyle Busch himself he wasn't going to. He could have scrapped together maybe a top 25 or something, but he's like, no, it's not worth it. And so he kind of just. I think Kyle Busch phoned it in once he realized the kind of car he had.
They had Hamlin trying to advance and Bell trying to advance. They got one of them in. I think I don't think Kyle was surprised that he had as bad of a car as he did.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't want to be I'm not saying I don't want to be. I don't want these like things that fans keep passing around like that they're sabotaging him. I just think it's like we talked about this team, giving up, and it seemed like from what I can tell from Kyle Busch fans, especially like following Dalton on Twitter, biggest Kyle Busch fan ever. It seems like this 18 team is like they get punched in the mouth metaphorically, and they're down for the count. There's just no heart among them, especially once the rumors started swirling about if Busch wasn't coming back or if he would and all that, and then of course him signing with RCR. It feels like for the most apparent way you can actually see it from a lame duck season. This is just a team that has given up. A team driver, the whole package has just given up.
Funny looking back on this now, because I don't think he's going to win this weekend. If Chase Briscoe doesn't go wild at Dirt Bristol, he goes a season without a win this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also
that's the reality.
Also, too, I mean, you can make the case that this season was doomed from the start because we started hearing back last December about Mars Co. Not coming back. To the team after 2022.
We were like, well, who's going to be the sponsor of next year?
Yeah, and then there was all this.
We should still be asking that, really. But.
Yeah, there was all this wondering too, like, oh, will he be back in the ride? Yada yada yada. So, I mean, that has to be draining, not just for Kyle Busch, but then for the team, not knowing, like, hey, what's going to happen beyond this year? Like, hey, am I still going to be employed to this team? Is there going to be, wholesale changes with the team as a whole? So I don't know. I guess looking back, the 2022 season for Kyle Busch was just doomed from the very beginning.
Well, and it feels much more similar to the way the 2020 did, honestly, too. Like, they're very similar in the way that they felt overall. It's just, between these last 3 years, it's just everything just didn't click the way it did before. And that's probably natural at this point. But moving on from somebody who's been an afterthought for like the last 5 weeks to the 4 drivers who have been, basically are the season at this point. I want each of you guys and myself to, starting with whoever wants to for Ross Chastain, and then we'll go Elliott, Bell, and Logano. Give me your case for why each guy in the Final Four can win a championship this year.
I will start off with Ross Chastain. So Ross Chastain, just a couple of years ago, he's just like my Tennessee Vols. He was not on anyone's radar. He just was just barely getting by in the lower series, and finally gets that big opportunity, and then gets to go to the Chip Ganassi Racing for a full season, and then now all of a sudden he's with the new big dog, Trackhouse Racing, and he just lights it up on fire this season. I forget how many top 5s he's got at this point, but he got another one this past weekend.
He's got more than Chase. I think he has the most in the Cup Series.
More than Chase Elliott, the most top 5s of anyone in the Cup Series. I mean, I keep drawing the comparison to the Vols. I mean, it's very similar. Used to be nothing, now it's like top guy over here, and both of them number 1. So, I think he's figured out who he is. He's not afraid of making a few enemies to achieve the greater goal that he's after, which is to win races, which is to compete for a championship. Obviously, he proved that he's willing to do whatever it takes this past weekend at Martinsville. And, he managed to win at 2 different types of tracks this year. He won at Talladega in the spring. He won at Circuit of the Americas. But the thing that worries me though is that those were 2 wins very early in the spring, and he hasn't gotten a win since then. So while I think he can be willing to do what it takes, the part that does worry me is the fact that he's only getting so far. And will he have what it takes to go out and get the win this weekend? Because as we've seen in all of the years past in this type of playoff format, you need to win the race in order to win the championship. We have not seen a single driver in the Cup Series, at least, not win the race and win the championship. So if he wants to win this championship, he's going to have to win the race. So will Ross have what it takes? I think he can, but will he do it? We'll have to find out this weekend.
You know, it's funny with me. A couple years ago, I made the whole, funny Chase Elliott Mickey championship meme video, and now I'm going to talk about him as a championship favorite this weekend. I mean, looking at his stats too, I mean, he's having arguably the best season of his entire Cup Series career since joining Hendrick Motorsports back in 2016. 5 wins, 12 top 5s, 20 top 10s, 3 poles, and an average finish of 12th. Now, compared to his 2020 season, his stats were this: 5 wins, 15 top 5s, 22 top 10s, a pole, and an average finish of 11.7. So very similar in those categories. And when you look at his stat throughout the season, he was without a doubt the best driver in the regular season, hence why he won the regular season championship. Ended up getting 4 of his 5 wins during the regular season, but when we started the playoffs, there was his fan base was worrying a lot. I mean, starting off Darlington with a 36th place finish, 11th at Kansas, but then makes it up at Bristol with the 2nd. Then you move on to the next round, a 32nd at Texas, ends up winning Talladega, and he almost wins the Roval, but is relegated to 20th place. And poor cameraman. But anyways, no, moving on to the final round too, the most recent one, round of 8. Las Vegas 21st, Homestead 14th, and Martinsville 10th. And he still makes it in. So what that tells me is the regular season still matters somewhat because he was able to use that giant cushion from the regular season to advance to this point. But also too, I was very surprised, by the way they were performing on some of these tracks too. Definitely, it was a combination of just bad performance and bad luck sometimes too. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, look, he made it to the championship 4 despite all of those obstacles. So I feel like, look, we're going to a place where he has won in the championship 4 race too, the 2020 season, his first and only championship so far. It may sound crazy to some, but I personally still have him as a favorite. And hey, looking at the odds too, which we'll get into later, a lot of odds makers have him as a favorite as well too. So I know Chase Elliott fans during the playoffs were so worried throughout it, but don't worry, guys. He made it. Despite only scoring a total of 3 top 10s the entire playoffs, or was it only 2?
He got 11th last week. Or no, Keselowski got DQ'd. So
no, yep. 10. So, scoring a total of only 1 win, 1 top 5, and 3 top 10s the entire playoffs. Your favorite driver still made it, so I wouldn't be so worried.
Well, I told you guys earlier in the year, that I had Bell, and I'm sticking with him. And I had put together a list of a few reasons why I think Bell is the guy who would win. First off, he's done this at every level. He's actually the first driver since the playoffs have been instituted in all 3 series to make it in the Final 4 in trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. When you look at comparable races to Phoenix, he's gotten better at every one so far this year. He finished 26th at Phoenix, which wasn't, something that I would argue would say favorite. But then 9th at Gateway after running up front all day, and he won New Hampshire, which is the most similar track to Phoenix. So the team has gotten better with their flat track program over the season. He's basically been in races just like this twice so far in this playoffs with the Roval and Martinsville. The pit crew he has been the fastest on pit road in the last couple of races, just like Kyle Larson's was to win him the championship last year. He has Adam Stevens as his crew chief. Adam Stevens won championships in 2015 and 2019 and is the only one in the Final 4 crew chief-wise that has multiple championship victories and is the winningest crew chief of them as well. And Bell has been getting faster as years gone on, so he's peaking at the right time. For me, that's why I still am very high on Bell winning the championship this week.
Well, you guys took the other three, so I guess I have to talk about Joey Logano.
Of all
And
people.
I'm looking in the chat at the poll you put in there, Jarrett. And right now, Logano is bringing up the rear. Very few of our fans seem to believe Logano is the championship favorite this week. But if I have to make a case for Joey, there's a couple easy ones. First one is experience. Joey Logano is going into his 5th career championship 4 race. This format, or a version of this format's only been around 9 years. He's been to more than half of them. That now ties him with Truex, Kyle Busch, and Harvick for the most championship 4 appearances all time. Obviously, he won it in 2018, back when the finale was at Homestead, Miami. But besides experience, Joey Logano's had 2 extra weeks to solely focus on Phoenix. He won at Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. He kind of phoned it in at Homestead. Martinsville, he just rode around in 12th all day. That team has all of their attention on Phoenix Raceway for the championship. Joey Logano, I think, is going to be a threat. I was looking, Jarrett, you were talking about all of our preseason playoff predictions. I couldn't remember who I picked to be in the championship 4 a few weeks ago, but I had Logano as one of my championship 4 drivers, and I think he's gonna surprise some folks. Even though he was the first to lock into this final race, I think he has something. I think he's had a quiet season, a quietly great playoffs, and I'd look for him to do some damage at Phoenix this weekend. So don't count out Joey Logano, even though he's not ripping riding the outside wall. He's not winning in the clutch. He doesn't have a championship in the last 2 years. He's not the most popular driver. Don't count out Joey Logano. Give him some credit.
Well, looking at what the audience did say about it, their pick is Chastain. 37% at the moment. This isn't picks for the end, by the way. So, but Chastain's the one that they're going with, at least of the favorites going in. Elliott second, 26%. Bell 24%. And only 13 for Logano.
Damn, nobody's showing Logano any love, man. But hey, he entered 2018 remember, he entered the 2018 championship 4 as like the least favorite. And
he was the fourth underdog, I think, in that race. Yeah.
And he won Gateway earlier this year, which was so similar to Phoenix. That surprises me.
But also, another fun fact too, Logano's made it to the championship 4 in every even year, correct? 14, 16, 18, 20, and 22, right? So it's funny. That's funny. It's a funny streak he has going on.
No, at least we know how to pick the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And then it adjusted. Logano went to 12% on the poll.
Oh,
dang.
I guess I didn't have a great argument.
Well, I think they voted early on you and got ahead, but no,
early voting.
I think that'll cover most of the stuff that happened during the weekend. But we do have a bit when it comes to the ratings side of things, both ours and NASCAR in general. And I want to preface this. People should, in the chat should not get too discouraged by this after the Chastain deal. Like, the ramifications of that will come in the coming week and maybe even next year. But looking at what the ratings had, and they were posted up, this race had 2.541 million viewers, so 3% down from last year, and was the lowest watched second to last race since ratings have been calculated. The key demo, we had 477, so 19% of the total audience, which actually is better than like the last 5 or 6 weeks. For reference, Formula One on ESPN had 451,000, so at least in total audience in the key demo. NASCAR did win in that regard, though percentage-wise it wasn't nearly the same. But that about covers that. We do have one other type of rating, though. We put on our own rating.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The good old poll, the famous Iceberg poll.
Well, I asked you guys what you think of the 2022 Xfinity 500, and I knew this was going to be positive going into it. I didn't realize just how positive. 67% said this was a great race. So 2/3 of the 15.7 thousand voters said it was
Chastain helps with that.
Is the finish what's outweighing this, though?
Yes.
It's important to note, Jerry, you put this poll out seconds after the checkered flag, right?
Yeah.
You don't wait an hour, a day. It is moments after. So that I think that is going to skew the data in this case. Just
I saw that,
little bit.
and as soon as you put the poll, I hit average, and then immediately just see the great. I'm like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen.
I voted good. Because again, I thought long runs were great, and really outside of stage 2, I thought there was something to pay attention to pretty much the entire race.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I think I said after the race when I went live, it was like a 6 or 7 out of 10, personally.
Yeah,
Like,
I gave it a 7. Is what I gave it.
Yeah, solid race.
I skew positive though. For me, a 6 is like a truly average race.
I see 6 as like one of those like an average race that had something that was good in it.
Yeah, so then that would be a 6.5 for me. Then I'll rank that.
Well, 21% said it was a good race, so 88% of voters said it was positive, which is like Jeff Gluck poll number.
Yeah.
Level. 7% said average, 2% said below average, 3% bad. So 5% of people had a negative opinion on this race. And the first comment was from Spencer again. Positive, negative, meme.
Positive.
After this kind of race, it's got to be meme.
It's a bit of a long one. There's 4 bullet points on it.
I'll probably not meme then.
Christopher Bell. Want to see me win my way into the next round?
Meme.
Want to see me do it again? Then he goes, wow, wow, wow. That was an interesting race. That was an interesting and crazy end to the race. An improvement from the spring race earlier this year for sure. Also, I am anxious to see what the NASCAR Weekly Podcast points look like heading into the last race of the season because it has become such a heavyweight battle to claim the Pick Points Championship.
I already peaked.
There has been a change. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Looking at some of the other people in the comments section also. Most highly voted one was from commenter Sick Freak. I've watched NASCAR for well over 30 years. I have never seen a move like Chastain made actually work. Definitely going to be on the highlight reels for years to come.
Wow, what a sick freak.
And then there was...
That was his name, Eric.
I know, but it's just didn't expect that.
Well, then there
I want
was...
someone to clip that out of context.
There was a response from NEP84 who said, never had a car been this durable before. Or durable enough.
It wouldn't have worked with any other car before this.
Well, apparently a slight hit to the wall at Las Vegas, it was killed, so I don't know.
Solo Wing says Chastain pulled off one of the wildest, most insane moves in the sport's history, and it secured his place in the championship 4. I don't think you could have scripted that finish any better than that. Massive props to Ross, and congrats on their first appearance in the title race. Yeah, Trackhouse and Ross Chastain both.
Yeah, one of the newer teams too, making it to the championship 4 already. Wow.
Jeff Taylor says the last 50 laps was honestly some of the best racing I've seen in this century. So, very positive there. Turfy Terror says, I think millions of people just became Ross Chastain fans at heart, especially since he got the idea from NASCAR 2005.
Mm-hmm.
On the
NASCAR
game.
2000. Yeah, NASCAR 2005, Chase for the Cup, baby.
Brandy says Christopher Bell is the season's playoff walk-off king. Tongue twister. So happy for him. I'm trying to find ones that aren't about Ross Chastain.
That'd be hard.
Nice.
Birdie D says exciting last 30 laps, but the first 470 were as entertaining as watching paint dry. Wow. That wasn't even one of the lower ones.
I wouldn't go that far.
Dan says that was nuts. The last stage was so action-packed and nerve-wracking. I literally stood up and yelled, "Oh shoot!" I'll just say shoot. I don't know. Yeah.
Aw, this is so PG.
Let's see. Jason Davis says, very good race with an absolutely all-time great finish. That wasn't for the win. That's the crazy part.
Yeah,
fifth.
I remember that. Yeah, 5th place.
5th, and then it ended up being a battle for 4th.
Fourth.
Thanks to
Yeah.
the tech gods.
Thanks,
I do
Keselowski.
I do love how Keselowski being DQ'd with how that affected the stages. I believe that made Chastain's move actually unnecessary. I think
Yeah.
He would have been in anyways. But whatever. We're not going to talk about that.
Still fun.
well,
Still fun to watch.
One thing about that, though, about the way that Chastain's move ended up influencing the playoffs is that had Denny Hamlin not been DQ'd and the win given to Chase Elliott would have been the one that was eliminated last second, and Denny Hamlin would have made it in.
Yep.
Oh, if not for the DQ at Pocono. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
would have.
Wow.
And also, I was watching a little bit of the show on USA. It was the one at Circuit Americas, and I realized had Alex Bowman continued that charge he had and won that race instead of Chastain probably wouldn't have made it in, even if that big Hail Mary either.
Yeah, because
So many
he made
what
it by
ifs.
4. Well, that's what we were saying going into it. It's just how close that they all were heading into it this year, and how pretty much everyone below Elliott was so close that, you know, it was every single race would have mattered a lot more this year compared to other years. Let's see what else we got here before we get down to the bottom ones. K9 Burnout says a classic for years to come. Mitch says that's an all-time great moment. Penzi, Ross Chastain pulled the wildest move of the entire season. Yeah, I'll say this. It's going to take a wild finish for the championship for that move this past week not to define the season. Like,
Yeah, need to be like a side-by-side, like this close finish to the line for the championship to outdo that. I don't even know if that would outdo that move. That move is just so spectacular.
Denny delivers. The fact that Kyle Busch was straight up running last in 5 laps down only at the end of stage 1 and then it's just a million skulls.
See, now his haters are just like, they were eating that up, man.
Let's get down to the bottom and see
Oh
if I
gosh,
can
the
read
gutter.
the negative ones.
Down to the gutters.
Yeah, that might be a good way to put it. Let's go
Yeah.
down to the gutters. Now watch it's like actual just positive ones that aren't as positive. Good Lord, there's so many watermelons in this.
Yeah,
Wow.
I figured.
Let's see.
Someone in the chat said Denny delivers is in shambles.
Okay, I can read these.
I don't blame him.
Dr. Detroit Stream Stuff. Very, very quick and to the point name. Worst race ever. Salvaged by Chastain's video game move. There was hardly any passing for 480 laps, and then the final 20 was when they actually started racing. Man, wow.
I wouldn't call it the worst race of the year, though. But, yeah, I see what he's coming
Sometimes
from.
it's all about getting there to the end to do those crazy stuff, though.
Yeah.
Game Boy Blue 2006 says this race is disappointing. Kyle Busch is sitting in the top 30 the whole time. Dude, you gotta get your thoughts in line, man. like if I was your teacher, I would fail you for run-on sentences. Chrome Diesel says playoffs are stupid and bad. Byron Wynn says yet another awful race at Martinsville. I figured you'd like the first one.
I wish his name would have been true because that's who I picked.
Hey, God, even for playoff haters, come on, guys.
Like that was awesome.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened without the playoffs in this case. And I don't even like the playoffs like that.
Then Brian Monk had the lowest voted comment on the bottom, and he says this series has been become a joke. Been watching for 40 years, and after that move by Chastain, I'm done. No skill at all in NASCAR.
Wait, no, is he trolling or is this like watch this just be a kid?
No, man, I saw a lot of those like comments from like people who were like older who were just like, this is horrible and this and this and this, and it's like,
Well, hey,
okay.
You definitely got a lot of racing purists out there who are like, oh, he should have just done it straight up. I'm like, dude, it was a last second deal. Like he was so far back. There was like nothing he could do other than that. And it worked somehow.
But yeah, that is the poll this week. And I think that pretty much concludes stuff for the Cup race. I knew we were going to go long on that one because that was big.
Yeah. Whoa, it's already been an hour? Holy crap, it flew by. I didn't know it's been an hour. But yeah, hold on, let me do my thing really quick. And that'll conclude this edition of the poll, the famous Iceberg poll.
Hey, yeah, just let me do my thing really quick.
Oh, speaking of doing their things too.
Praise Jesus, we're talking about Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs died on the cross for the Cup guy's sins.
Okay, I want to put this right here. I erroneously tried trolling on Twitter and did not do a good job because people thought I was being serious about everything I said.
With which one? With what?
About the comparison to
Photoshop
Dale.
picture.
That one and the comparison to Dale Earnhardt, and people were, I was half serious, but also half having fun with it. So I'm just gonna say that now. I do think what Ty Gibbs did was wrong. All right, I'm saying it. But going into why he might have been wrong, Ty Gibbs in the closing laps had been racing hard with his teammates. His move had, I believe, indirectly, because he was on the bottom with 3 wide with his teammates, taking out Sammy Smith. And then going in on the final lap to turn 1, he went in with intent to not make the corner without help from his teammate, and Brandon Jones was a great teammate and helped him by spinning out.
Against his will.
Yeah, against his will. So, guys...
Ooh,
what do we think of Ty Gibbs? Darian's chomping at the bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, me and IDK, we were working the fairgrounds for the famous All-American 400, and we happened to catch the final few laps because I was looking on Twitter, and then apparently there was, 3 or 4 overtime restarts, something like that.
It was a lot of late race restarts.
It basically turned into a shit show in those final few laps. Oh, I cussed. Oh, sorry. But yeah, it basically turned into one of those deals. But yeah. So me and IDK were just eating our hot dogs and stuff. They gave us free food. Thank you, Fairgrounds. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a 300 lap race, so we needed to eat something. But yeah. So we were watching the final lap, and then as soon as they came off of turn 4, coming to the white flag, I just knew. I'm like, Ty Gibbs isn't gonna let him win this race, is he? And I don't mean by just giving him the bumper. I'm like, Ty Gibbs is gonna take him out, isn't he? And then entering turn 1, I see his back tires lift, and I knew. I just started going crazy, and then oh my gosh, that was crazy. Ty Gibbs, he's a very interesting driver too. Very talented. One of the best prospects coming into the Cup Series next year. But he certainly still has a lot of learning to do, both on and off the track with the way he handles certain situations. But also, too, he set himself up. I wouldn't say he set himself up for failure, but he's definitely made his rookie season a lot harder than it needs to be in the Cup Series. And here's why. There's been prospects that have come up through, the system for years, guys like specifically Cole Custer, who we think are going to be the next big things and stuff. Here's the thing with Ty Gibbs. He already has a major bullseye on his back. I can't think of a rookie that has entered the Cup Series with as big of a target on his back as he'll have in 2023. And then also, too, some of the hype has died down around him, too, because now that he's had some Cup Series experience, I mean, what does he have? Just 1 or 2 top 10s?
1 top 10 in 15 races.
Yeah. So, some of that hype has died down, too, and, my thing is this, is if he's likely to get the 18, I think he'll do a decent job in there, but I don't think he's going to set the world on fire neither. But then you add in all this other stuff with the way he races and with the way he handles certain, media obligations and stuff on social media too. That target's going to be huge. And, and what does this say to his teammates that he's going to be driving for and that he's going to be driving with in the Cup Series? Denny Hamlin hit that one tweet he had tweeted too was interesting because he said this was this was 4 or 5 minutes after the wreck had happened. So I don't know. I'm just worried for Ty Gibbs entering the Cup Series next year.
So Eric, I want to hear what you think too, because I think of the 4 of us, you and I have probably been the biggest I won't say defenders, but at least willing to be a little more open towards Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I have so much to say. There's no way I'm going to be able to organize all my thoughts here just off the cuff. I've been a Ty Gibbs fan. I'm becoming less and less of a Ty Gibbs fan as time goes on. This year, the first Martinsville race where he gets bumped out of the way, you can be annoyed by that, but then goes over, hits Sam Mayer on pit road, goes and starts a fight. Have some awareness. That made me think, okay, hopefully he can learn from that. Early in the year, he wrecks Brian Sieg early at Las Vegas. Okay, he can maybe learn from that. He's not learning. He's not learning at all. There are moments where you think he's learned. Was it Road America where he raced Kyle Larson clean for the win?
Oh, and Pocono. Pocono, yeah.
And he raced Noah Gragson clean at Pocono. And you think, okay, maybe he is learning. And then Martinsville happens. This Martinsville, where he wrecks his teammate for the win. And you could say, he kind of made the comment he was racing me hard, he bumped me. Y'all were bumping each other back and forth. Whoever was in the lead was getting bumped. He hit you you hit him a ton. He hit you a ton. Y'all were even. So don't give me that. So he goes in, he cleans him out. Didn't mean to wreck him. Are you sure? You don't seem to feel very bad about it. He goes out and does a complete burnout session. He antagonizes
give it
the
to
fans.
me.
If you didn't mean to wreck your teammate, you get out of the car and humbly be like, yeah, I hated to do that, but I'm glad we got the win. I feel sorry for him. I just drove it a little too hard. He didn't do that. So from my perspective, he meant to wreck Brandon Jones, or at the very least, he doesn't feel bad about it. And at that point, I can't defend you. At that point, like you said, Darian, he's got a target on his back and he deserves one. You saw like Denny Hamlin's tweet about I miss JD. Yikes!
Yeah,
Like,
that was
dark.
deep. That was deep.
Clint Boyer.
Boyer said there's no
Yeah.
class. Eric Jones.
And-
Chase Elliott. I saw I think Chase Elliott liked Eric Jones's tweet. That's how I saw
And
it.
then
Let's
Noah
not forget-
Gregson walked by when Brandon Jones had an interview, and he just literally walks by. He just goes, "Kick his ass, man."
But also, let's not forget about Jeremy Mayfield's tweet as well. Using the bumper used to be an art. Like, yeah, that's right. It used to
Exactly.
be.
So, yeah, I'm just disappointed. And what you kind of asked a moment ago, Darian, what does this tell you if you're a Joe Gibbs Racing teammate of Ty Gibbs? It's Ty Gibbs Racing. Unless he actually faces true internal consequences, because they're not going to pull him from the seat at Phoenix this week. He's contending for a championship. They're not going to do that. But unless there's some sort of consequences behind the scenes, how do you know you're not next? You know now that if you're in a must-win scenario and Ty Gibbs isn't going to care. He's going to wreck you and not apologize for it, not in the slightest. So, I don't know. They've lost Kyle Busch. They've lost Brandon Jones. They've lost Chandler Smith. Like, the Joe Gibbs Racing system is getting quite bare, and I worry if Ty Gibbs is part of that. Like, he's toxic to that environment. Nobody wants to race behind or next to Ty Gibbs in that pipeline because they know that's the coach's grandson. He's always going to get preferential treatment, and he races like a jackass.
So, Danny, I want to ask you this because Gibbs has, said the same talking line over and over again. It's a learning experience. We're gonna look into it. We're gonna talk.
So
to
is
him.
Joe Gibbs. Joe
So
Gibbs has said that too.
I'm saying the whole program.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. People were furious that NASCAR didn't step in. We've seen the same stuff over and over again in Joe Gibbs Racing, and Joe Gibbs has it. If they've stepped in, it hasn't worked. Should NASCAR step in at some point when it's Ty Gibbs repeatedly doing the same things with seemingly no regard for anyone else in the field, unless it's someone like Noah Gregson who can kick his ass?
I mean, maybe they can, but at the same time, this seems more like a issues within the team kind of deal. Because I really felt like after that happened, the mentality with Joe Gibbs Racing was, well, we've got a guy who's announced he's leaving, and maybe they weren't so mad because they didn't want someone who's going to a rival manufacturer, rival team, to go out and win a championship. Because they literally, if you think about it, they just had Daniel Hemrick win a championship on him and bolt out of there. So, that kind of made it more awkward than probably they wanted to. I feel like if they have a car that's going to contend for a championship, they'd rather be that one to Ty Gibbs right now.
It's just baffling to me because you could have had two cars in the playoff in the championship.
I know.
It's just
Now
crazy.
you got 3 JRM cars. You're literally swarmed. You're flanked on all sides.
It's just confusing to me because we talked about this last week. I mean, he was 33 points good. He didn't need to win that. Second place would have been just fine for him. But also at the same time, I say that, but also I'm like, well, he could have just finished second, but he did want the win and he got the win. But I don't know.
Now, let me say something about Brandon Jones really quick too, because what he said on the radio immediately after getting spun was interesting too. He said, "Guys, I love you, but I can't wait to leave."
I don't blame him.
But it's to Eric's earlier point. Like, it's kind of becoming Ty Gibbs Racing to a certain extent too. Now, we've seen this sort of happen before too. Remember Kevin Harvick in 2013 in the Truck Series at the same track, by the way, Martinsville, was like, "Yeah, I can't wait to leave RCR because you got these spoon-fed kids, coming up, blah blah blah." So I'm like, are we seeing a similar situation with Joe Gibbs Racing here happening now? So
the Denny Hamlin tweet concerned me because I'm sure he's fine with Ty Gibbs. He respects. I don't know about respects, but he's willing to work with him.
But to tweet that though, right after,
like that tweet. Not so subtly is suggesting that, hey, your son would have handled Ty Gibbs better than you, Joe. Like that's just it is deep. Ugh.
Well, if Hamlin had that much of a problem with him, he'd have John Hunter Nemechek driving to 23 this weekend. So
I looked back because here's the thing, like while he did go too far and he has went too far before, I'm gonna say this right now, and people might get mad at me, but it's the truth. Ty Gibbs is the perfect villain for today's NASCAR. He is the antithesis of what NASCAR fans like. He is somebody who NASCAR fans view as being handed something. He's incredibly talented, so I think that when he gets a hold of Cup, he's going to run up front. Drivers hate him as much as the fans do, so it's somebody to rally behind and root against. And here's the thing. He is young. He's going to be around and doing this stupid stuff for a while. So I went back to probably the 4 guys I would say were the most out of control in the late 2000s to early 2010s that were younger drivers. Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. And I'd say that each year, Kyle Busch hit his worst at 2011, I would say. Kurt Busch 2012, Brad Keselowski 2014, Joey Logano 2015. These drivers are between the ages of 25 and 33 and between their 5th and 12th year in NASCAR Cup Series competition. If Ty Gibbs follows that trajectory, you're going to have Ty Gibbs acting like this and probably not getting the worst Ty Gibbs you get until around 2030.
It's developing.
Based on
we'll
recent
see.
history. I'm just saying, but because he's so much younger, the immaturity is that much more pronounced.
I just don't want to see dumb. That's my problem. I'm okay with wearing the black hat, being aggressive. I just don't like dumb racing. I feel like he's made some just dumb moves that I think NASCAR consistent, not penalizing him at Martinsville. I agree, but I think he's made enough dumb moves that now you start to wonder, should NASCAR start penalizing those kinds of moves? And I hate that we have to start having those conversations because, I don't want NASCAR to over officiate. Going back to our earlier discussion about Chastain, but like guys like Ty Gibbs racing like idiots might end up making it necessary. So yeah, I'm with you. Spoiled rich kid, never had to work, never raced in anything but the best. Throwing temper tantrums. He's a good villain. He's also just dumb sometimes, and I want to cut back on the dumb. That's all I ask.
I think that I think moving forward, because I don't think he's going to go.
I think Tony Stewart was the perfect villain because he earned his way. He was a great driver. You couldn't deny that, but he was just kind of nasty on the racetrack. I think you say the same about Earnhardt. He was nasty on the track, but you can't deny he didn't earn his way there. He's a good driver. Gibbs, the spoiled, upbringing, sort of shtick. I don't know, maybe not be for everybody.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, he's the perfect person to root against.
Sure. I'm just trying to. I think that's the problem. Is at this point, I'll be honest, I don't know how you can root for Ty Gibbs. Tony Stewart, I can see why you'd root for him. Dale Earnhardt, I can see why you'd pull for him. I have a hard time seeing how you could root for Ty Gibbs. I entered this year a big Ty Gibbs fan. I had a T-shirt. I haven't worn that T-shirt in like 9 months.
I really thought he was becoming your favorite driver since Matt Kenseth.
Last year, Ty Gibbs, the hype train was real. He was raw, making some mistakes, but he wasn't making dumb moves every other week. Now it feels like every month there's just what are you doing?
Logan's Doom in the chat brought up the chant that Martinsville was chanting. Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you for letting me get away with this.
I forgot who it was, but I saw somebody who had been in media for a while and known Ty Gibbs for a long time was saying that's not the same kid I knew, even 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, who did say that?
I forgot who it was, but it was somebody respected. Like it wasn't just somebody off the cuff.
I think was it Mark Martin? It might have been Mark Martin who tweeted.
I thought it was.
I don't remember who it was.
Maybe it was multiple people. I thought it was somebody in the media who had said that.
Was it Dave,
maybe you're right.
Was it Dave Moody? Did he say something like that?
No, he
was it Jess Rolick, the old PR rep?
Yes.
She was Kenseth's PR rep years ago.
So
and she was DiBenedetto's too.
Yeah. So is she like referring to like, oh, he's changed like his personality wise, or like just like the way he races?
Personality. I mean, the way he's always been aggressive racing. This is the thing I say about Ty Gibbs is like Ty Gibbs off the track. Like I've been able to talk to him. We've all been able to talk to him multiple times on the show.
He's nice.
In person. Yeah, he's a nice person.
I think he's
a different person in the car. Yeah. Which is in a lot of ways is okay. I mean, Kyle Busch is the same way.
I've always said that like when I was younger, just a fan and just watched the sport, I didn't like Kyle Busch, but then when I got to know him a little bit more, outside and away from the track, I see the kind of like father figure it is. It's like, well, I gotta say I respect that. I like him as a person, but and now it's kind of like the same way with Ty Gibbs. I like him as a person, but he's gonna piss a lot of people off with the way he drives.
And also, good.
Here the big thing, that set a lot of people off. And this is where I started memeing the hell out of him, is when he basically compared his situation of being hated
Yeah.
to Jesus being hated. I'm like, it's not in the same vein, bro.
If I can say, I get what he was trying to say with that Bible verse. I just don't think that was the right place and time to say
no,
it.
here's what he's saying. He's saying, I'm right. You guys don't have a reason to hate me, just as you know people didn't have a reason to hate Jesus. And I'm saying, no, you're wrong. You're wrong for wrecking Brandon Jones.
No, I took it as more of, and again, I don't even know if it really wasn't even the right Bible verse to use in this case. He was more or less trying to say people didn't like him or didn't agree with him at first, saying you're referring to not agreeing or not liking Jesus at first, but they grew to like him, then they grew to crucify him. So I don't know what he's saying there.
Yeah. Look, Ty Gibbs' faith is well known. You know, he
and that's
says
fine.
it all the time. And stuff. Yeah, no, that's fine
Don't
too. But
hide
then, like,
behind it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you say these certain verses in the context of talking about certain moves and stuff that you made on track, then yeah, you're obviously going to get a ton of backlash for that too. But yeah, it's just I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt at first because I hadn't heard the clip yet. But then once I heard it, I'm like, oh come on, man! Like you can't do that.
He's trying to say. I think he's trying to say something like, I'm just trying to block out the haters. I'm trying not to let them get to me, affect me.
He's doing a good job with that too.
Yeah,
because I mean,
that's fine. That's well and good. He's been a lot more quiet on social media. I know, like that's good. I think he has some good people around him, kind of removing him from that situation. But no, the Bible reference came across entirely wrong, and it's just meaningless. I'm not here to make it a big serious thing. It's just one of those dumb things.
It's tone deaf. It's tone deaf. Yeah. It's something a teenager would say, and I'm not using that as an excuse. I am saying that Larry Mack hit it on the head a couple weeks ago. Like if you were gonna be acting like this and doing all this stuff and saying all this stuff, and you have people who are basically enabling this, they're not stopping it. Whatever their strategy is not working to stop him from doing these over and over again. If it was a one-time deal, like early in the year when he did some of this stuff, I'm like, maybe we're kind of overreacting, but it's like
it's consistent.
It's every other week it seems like that there's something, and that's what sucks about it, because he is a talented race car driver.
At the end of the day, he is definitely one of the hottest. Will arguably the hottest prospect, entering the Cup Series next year too. And yes, he's had some Cup Series starts underneath his belt, but he's going to a whole new deal where some of these veteran guys are not going to let some of this stuff slide too. Now, if he does come in immediately and starts running a whole lot better than he has been with 2311, then we'll see. But yeah, he still has a lot of learning to do for sure.
Now go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know we acknowledge super chats later on, but this guy just said we know that Ty Dillon is the real Jesus.
The real Ty Jesus.
Gosh,
well, going from one person that people were asking to get punched in the face to a driver who was actually punched in the face,
dude, and he was
Austin Hill versus Myatt Snyder. Here's the thing.
That just went ignored by so many people this week.
Because nobody had saw the
Here's the thing. Austin Hill, he practices martial arts and boxing.
Oh, he does.
He does. That is actually a lot of drivers do that for reaction time. And based on what he said the story was and what people said it was, is that Myatt Snyder came over and he said, quote, "You're hot bleep because you think you're hot bleep because you race for RCR." Ooh. And from what Austin Hill said is that Snyder kind of got closer to him and he warned him twice to get out of his face, and he didn't. I heard that. And
let me say this too.
Should NASCAR penalize him? That's been the question going around right now.
I think it's borderline. They didn't penalize Gibbs for punching Sam Mayer. It didn't have nearly the same force behind it that Austin Hills did. But I think maybe in the future they should kind of say, hey, no more punching. Shove, don't punch.
After hearing
I don't think you should. I don't think you should. Sorry, hold on, Derry. I don't think you should be socking guys like that. I don't know. Has Myatt Snyder cleared to race this week?
Yeah, he is.
Snyder's in the wrong for going up. I don't know that he was unjustified, and you get told to go away to get out of your face. If you get punched, that is on you. But we also can't be just green lighting the biggest boys socking guys in front of everybody.
That's the first time he's done it.
Didn't we suspend a crew guy for yanking Hamlin to the ground a few years ago?
We did.
I don't know. I think you can't have drivers punching each other like that, in my opinion. That's just how I see it.
Now, look, the way I see it is this. Look, we're all men at the end of the day, So you know,
Well,
there's
not all
certain
of us.
things.
There's a few women racing that are running up near the
No,
front.
no, I'm just
We're
being
all-
us
I-
four.
we're
Us
all-
four.
Okay.
Us four, man. Look, we're all men at the end of the day, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you're feeling some type of way, or if somebody comes in your personal space, and if you tell them to leave, you know, like, and if they keep talking all this mess, because what did he say again, Jared? Like, you're
think
hot
you're
bleep,
hot bleep because you race for RCR.
and you just ran 250 laps at Martinsville and stuff to it. And if a dude tells you like, hey, get out of my face right now, and he's like still getting closer and closer and closer, I'm sorry, bro, but like, what do you think's gonna happen?
I'm just surprised that Austin Hill didn't hit him back with, well, you lost your ride at RCR or something like that.
Well,
But
like,
hey, no, he hit him back for real.
I'm gonna say this, like, one thing that always annoys me about NASCAR is that the fights are just a bunch of guys in a mosh pit pushing each other
This
around.
was a
Like,
legit.
there's like
This wasn't a fight. It was one punch and he was down.
yeah, I bet you Mike Steiner ain't gonna mess with Austin
No.
Hill anymore.
I'm
more
like,
more
I
of these
just think-
people need to get punched in the face. I'm sorry. Like
I
because just pushing people around, because it's basically, you know, what happened for the majority of NASCAR fights. Like, these aren't like little kids. These are
Yeah.
grown ass men.
So
and
I'm actually going to
handle
change
it
my
that
mind.
way.
I'm going to change my mind. As long as NASCAR does not officiate on-track incidents like aggressive driving, wrecking, and stuff like that, then yeah, I don't think you can penalize
go
punching.
hockey.
Because you're right. You're right. If you can't send a message on the track because you get right, whatever. You like, if NASCAR doesn't want you doing what Bubba Wallace did, then you got to do it off the track. And there's no better way to send a message than punching a guy in the face and knocking him to the ground.
I
So
say
I
go
don't
hockey with
condone
it.
violence. I don't punch people. I'm not a fighter.
I don't punch people. I
Nah.
swear I'm
But-
not that bad.
Well, I even if someone was in my face, I don't see myself just punching them. I don't know. I haven't been in many fights. I'm a big boy. People don't usually approach me. I'm the Austin Hill in most instances. But I don't like punching people. But if you're not going to let people retaliate on track, I think you have to let them retaliate off the track. So I think as long as NASCAR has their current rules, it's fine.
I don't know why I'm even thinking about this, but I'm just realizing, like, we see stuff like this happen. Has there been cases where someone just like filed a police report or sent someone with charge for assault after this?
So that's what Dale Jr., his rationale. He thinks that Austin Hill should be like fined or like, you know, penalized or something. And my argument is like, why not just let them go, you know, hockey, and they go at each other, but as soon as someone hits the ground, like, that's it. Break the
That's
whole
what
thing
happened.
up. Because
Yeah.
that's the thing. Every time there's a fight, we always get annoyed with it. It's like, oh, they just pushed each other. Oh, guys got in their way. And it's like,
And now people are mad about it, like, because someone
well,
actually. did punch
that's
them.
what I say is like some of these guys, I don't. I'll be real. I think the majority of these kids coming up have never been punched in the face before.
No,
and it
no,
shows.
and you could tell. But also
Some of the
too,
stuff
again,
that they will say and think they can get away with,
Yeah.
and it's like that. If they got punched in the face at some point growing up, they learn not to run their mouth that much.
Yeah, look, man. You know, look. Some of us have a big mouth. I've been there too, especially when I was younger too. And hey, sometimes I had to fight as a result of that. Sometimes too. So you know, I won some, I lost some. You know, growing
Yeah,
up.
you're-
But
you're-
hey, you lesson learned. You know,
Big
but
mouth at Bristol nearly got me in.
oh yeah, in that case, I just ran away too. But no, look. The point is this. Look, I'm not condoning what Austin Dillon did. I'm like, yeah, you know, he deserved that. But like,
Dillon.
dude, if you oh my bad. Austin Hill, my bad. No, I'm not condoning what Austin Hill did entirely here, but like, again, it goes back to, you know, if you get in another man's personal space and you keep talking all a whole bunch of mess here and stuff, like, use your brain. What do you think's gonna happen, bro? Like I mean, in my opinion though, Maya Snyder, if he was talking all this mess and getting closer and closer and not going away, he should have been ready for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I
it's
don't know.
just, I'm sorry.
I don't like punching. You know, Myatt Snyder in the wrong. I don't think was justified in how he was getting in Austin Hill's face per the reports we've all heard. But I don't like just laying a guy out like that. I don't think that's good. I don't know. I don't like it. That's just me.
Well, all of this between Ty Gibbs and then the KO that we found out on Sunday about has pretty much overshadowed the fact that we now have the Final Four for Xfinity. Now, we'll not probably go as in-depth on this one as the Cup one, but we talked about it briefly that it is JRM versus Ty Gibbs. It is Justin Allgaier, Josh Berry, Noah Gragson, and Ty Gibbs. And going into this, I almost feel like the conversation should be, how can you justify saying that Ty Gibbs could win this? Because that seems like everyone's the running line right now going into this coming weekend is, well, there's no way Ty Gibbs is winning this. There's 3 guys in the Final Four against him and Brandon Jones.
I think just because everyone says Ty Gibbs won't win it, that's how he could win it.
You know, also Junior Motorsports has been extremely consistent this season too, whether it's just, you know, getting, you know, a bunch of top 10s, a bunch of wins, purely on speed, you know, no BS happening in between. Like, I mean, they've been consistent, man. And, you know, a guy like Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, and Justin Allgaier too, who Justin Allgaier, I think is a much bigger threat than, you know, a lot of people are giving him credit for at the moment. But yeah, I mean, Ty Gibbs is going to be all alone too. And also too, like, I mean, who's to say Brandon Jones doesn't, like, at least try to make it a little hard for him if they're in the same vicinity, you know?
Just a little oopsie.
Yeah. I don't mean, like, entirely take him out and stuff, you know? But, hey, you never know. I mean, it's his last race.
At this point, why care? If he wrecks him,
if he's leaving.
If he wrecks him on oopsie or whatever it might be, then, you know, they say, hey, park it after that. Like, gladly, I'm out of here.
But yeah, no, but poor AJ Allmendinger though, man. He was so consistent all season long and then just barely misses it.
I'm gonna say this: don't sleep on Josh Berry, just because he's so good at these smaller tracks. People are gonna be looking at Noah Gragson because he wins so many races. They're gonna look at Ty Gibbs as like that, you know, guy that is the villain that could come up and win it and spoil it for NASCAR fans because that's happened. You know, they're gonna look at everyone, I feel like, but him. And I think that in a lot of ways, because it fits his driving style so well, he could end up being the favorite that leads like 100 laps of this race.
And watch Allgaier just dominate the entire thing.
You know, I know it doesn't really have much to do with who the driver is, but at the same time, Junior Motorsports has only won a championship with the 9 car in their history.
Right, that is true.
The streak will continue. I look at Allgaier, who's been. Is this like his 5th championship 4 appearance? I think he's been in the championship 4 almost every year since Xfinity started doing it.
He's becoming like the Hamlin of the Xfinity Series. And he's really good, but can't win that championship.
Like I talked about in Cup, like Truex, Logano, Busch. They've all been 5 times, and they've all won at least 1 championship. Allgaier's, I think, in his 5th, and he's still 0 for. So is this the year? Like, can he do it?
I mean, this is one of his best tracks too. But I mean, yeah, he can't get it done in the championship 4, unfortunately. But this might be the year, maybe.
Yeah, we'll talk a bit more about this at the end of the show. But man, I knew going into it we were gonna have a long bit on the Martinsville stuff. But we got one more story to go over and lighten around all that good stuff. But we also have to thank everybody at home. Thank you for sending super chats. Let's get into this first super chat stage break. Anyone got the 3-minute timer?
I got
on
it.
me? All right,
Go
cool.
ahead.
And starting now. Looking at some of these super chats here, starting with Groovy Goose for $1.99. Ross broke the 100% rule. He went 200%. Isaac for $5 said, I joked this season about Gibbs making my life feel pathetic. No more. I'm not a brat who would compare myself to Jesus. My life has meaning again. Oh, congrats, Isaac. And Groovy Goose left this other one where he said, I guess Jesus ended his sponsorship with Morgan Shepherd. Spencer, thank you for being a member for 17 months. He says 35 down, 1 to go, presented by Credit One Bank.
Yes, sir.
Ross Crashstain for $5 says, this season I have smashed 2 watermelons, my competitors' cars, my owner's car, my own car at Martinsville, and Denny delivers hopes and dreams. Jupiter Rain, thank you for the 2. Can't wait to drink. It's the one. Jupiter Rain is the one who always likes to troll Elliott fans. He wants to drink Elliott fan tears after he loses. I don't know. He's pretty good at Phoenix, man. I wouldn't bet against him too bad.
Chill out with that. He's gonna win. Watch.
Gavin Adcock, thank you for the 5. I think Brandon Jones should wreck Ty Gibbs at Phoenix. A final screw you to JGR. You sure it's not TGR? Legato_Nation 22 for $5. Best paint scheme of the year, Eric. Also screw Ty Gibbs.
Aw. Well, thank you. Oh gosh, not the screw Ty Gibbs part, the paint scheme part. Thank you.
Mafire 924 left a $2 one, but it was deleted. But I still appreciate it. Groovy Goose, thank you for the 5. The safety issues of this gen car reminds me of the is it all in all issue from Cars 2. I'm not well versed in the
yeah.
Cars universe, but it resembles it. It's bad. They need to fix it. I read a couple of these earlier. Alex for 5. Ross Chastain on the last lap. I shall advance. Also, as a Jimmie fan, buying into the GMS program. I love that team stock just went up. Antar Das, thanks for the 2. I want Ty Gibbs to win just so I can troll. Hello.
Some people, man.
Hello, FR for 2. Rooting for the 22. Best driver all year, unlike the 20 or the 9.
Ooh, some strong analysis.
M. Martin fan for life, $4.99 here, says David Bell is family here, so Christopher Bell for the win. And with his expected teammate next year, it might be his only shot.
Yeah, congrats, David Bell. Well, yeah, that'd be cool if he won the championship.
It's nothing for 5, says this definitely went viral. I made a video, every angle of the move, and now it's about to hit 1 million views. I did nothing, 1 million.
Wow.
Also, congrats, Eric, on the sponsor.
Oh, thank you.
2 penny puppet for $4.99. I didn't grow up with NASCAR. When Denny tweeted he misses JD, who's JD? Well, JD Gibbs. He, I believe, was Joe Gibbs'
He's
son.
Joe Gibbs' son. He passed away a few years ago.
And he was the team's competition director.
He was big.
I don't know his exact role,
Or he
but
was, or
he was.
something
I think
like
he was just one of the co-owners. I don't exactly know his title.
He had a big role in the way Joe Gibbs Racing had formed through Hamlin's years there. Kurt, thank you for the $6.99 Canadian. Ross Chastain found that mysterious 5th gear that Cole Trickle always used to try and find in clutch situations. NASCAR shill. Oh, is it the 3?
Yeah, you can do one more.
Yeah, I'll do one more. NASCAR shill. Thank you for the 2. Trusting drivers leads to Indy Turn 1. You can't.
There's a point. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you.
My God, there's always somebody racing outside when we're live. But yeah, we'll get to the rest of those super chats at the end of the show. And while viewers like you guys at home help fund this show, we are also funded by our sponsors, including Lionel. You can pre-order your favorite Drivers 2022 Next Gen diecast now at Lionel.com or any authorized Lionel retailer. Also, you don't want to miss the latest NASCAR Authentics wave at a Walmart or other stores that present it near you. So thank you to Lionel for supporting NASCAR Weekly Podcast, as well as the Out of the Groove Podcast Network. And guys, what do we have today?
We'll get to it, I know, in the second half of the show, but with some breaking news right before we went live. Jimmie Johnson and Richard Petty reportedly combining forces. If you're just tuning in, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Stay tuned. We'll talk about it in about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe less. Crazy stuff. So I want to bring out this crazy throwback.
And I have got 2 that are appropriate for championship weekend. I have got Kyle Busch, and one of the last seasons he remembers being good in this car, and the 2019 championship weekend from Miami. That was the only championship race I've been to. And then I've got Chase Elliott's championship car from 2020. Couldn't decide which one I wanted to go with, so I went with both of them today.
Hey, it's championship weekend, so I had to pull out the Tony Stewart 2011 Office Depot Chevy, the same one he took home the 2011 Cup Series championship in. One of the greatest championship comeback seasons ever. Wasn't even a favorite entering that season's chase for the Cup. Then all of a sudden he went Chicagoland and rips off 4 more wins, winning 5 of the 10 races, including the season finale at Homestead, to beat good old cousin Carl Edwards, or no, like that was his nickname. They weren't really cousins. And also too, kind of sort of unrelated, but he had a funny quote over the weekend saying how he was having more fun at NHRA than he was anywhere else with vendors. So funny.
Well, I don't have that much salt with mine. I have Casey Atwood's number 7 Muppets car. See right there. When the Muppets had that, I believe their 25th anniversary, 25 years of the Muppet Show, NASCAR had a bunch. I believe, was it all the Dodges had Muppets paint schemes? So this is the one for Casey Atwood.
All the Dodges did Muppets, and all the Chevys did Looney Tunes that season.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
even think Dale Jarrett's Ford in that season had like a little Muppet still too. Yeah, I don't know. So it might have just been like some of the cars, but yeah, a lot of the Dodges did too. Yeah.
But I like this one, especially like if you look on the bottom, it's little piano keys. Like it's hard to see because of the light, but
That's fun.
yeah.
I guess that was like with the radio or something like that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, yeah, and it's a serious car, yeah. But I always thought this one looked really good. But yeah, that is. Thank you to Lionel for sponsoring the NASCAR Weekly Podcast all year. And what is that rumbling?
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I ate too much. I guess.
I think it's my stomach. So the only way to make it better is to say it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, go ahead, man.
The fact that you went with the crazy eyes right when your mic peeked out. All right.
They were about to pop out of your head and you were quiet.
All right, so we got a couple good things here today. First off, Keith Rodden has been named crew chief for Austin Dillon in 2023. Another Austin at Richard Childress Racing is Austin Hill, but he will be also running 6 cup races for Beard Motorsports in 2023. The 2023 Busch Clash will be on main Fox. The main event will be starting at 8 p.m. Eastern time, according to
Night
Bob
race.
Cockress.
That's exciting. I don't know if that's better for ratings, but it'll be fun for the in-person experience, I think.
It should be.
I love this next one.
That means that it would start at
5
in California.
Yep.
Parker Kligerman will be driving full-time the number 48 Big Machine racing car in the Xfinity Series next year.
That's good.
That's really good.
There's a WWE's Big E of the day, or of the new day. Is that his full name?
His name is Big E of the group The New Day.
Okay.
Jared trying to talk about wrestling sounds like all the mainstream media trying to talk about Ross Chastain.
Do you want me to read this part?
I can read the racing part of it. Well, he's gonna be serving as the MC for the race, introducing the starting lineup for the Cup Series as well as the Championship 4 this weekend. So from what I've heard of the Martinsville one, that should be much better than the Martinsville one.
Yeah, so the Martinsville guy, I saw him at Texas a few years ago, and he was kind of interesting for a moment. Like, I respect whatever his profession is. Like, was he like a carnival barker?
Oh, wait, is that the hot dog dude? I think that's the hot dog dude.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He is the guy who announces the Nathan's hot dog eating.
Okay.
Contest.
Because is he really? Oh,
I didn't see the race on Saturday, and I saw people saying like, "Oh, it took forever." But that's him. That's what he does.
I will say this though for Big E, it's a big win for this because he's one of the best hype men in all of WWE. So this is a great pickup for him to do this.
Well, good. 3 more things here. Brian France is looking to be the final guest for the Dale Jr. Download this year.
Oh, that's gonna be good.
Going out with a bang.
I bet you Jeremy Mayfield will have.
He'll be listening.
Yeah. KBM will be announcing their 2023 plans on Friday for what their driver lineup, everything like that's going to be, and then the 2023 All-Star race at North Wilkesboro has officially been sold out today. So
that was quick.
And the resale market's
just a couple hours.
I saw like some of those resale tickets going for like $1,200.
Jeez, man.
But yeah, that'll do it for the lightning round.
Yes, and that'll do it for this edition of the lightning round of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now back to the show.
Before we get to the Jimmie Johnson story, we have to thank Forney Industries as well. They offer a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking accessories, and much, much more. Great for do-it-yourselfers, or if you're a professional metalworker, Forney has everything you need for your next project. So be sure to shop all of their products online at forneyind.com, right below my little square here, or look for their logo, which is above Darian's head, at an authorized Forney dealer near you. What's next, Jarrett?
It's just Jimmie Johnson, that one IndyCar driver. These IndyCar drivers keep coming into NASCAR.
I know. Open Wheel Invasion Part 2 or 3, whatever.
Stay where you belong, Jimmie.
Yeah, stick to your kind. Oh gosh, that sounds so bad out of context. Let's move on.
Move on. Well, the actual news. Jordan Bianchi had tweeted out, actually right when Eric entered into the Zoom call with us. We thought he was trolling. He's like, "Hey, did you hear Jimmie Johnson's coming back?" Or like,
"Yeah, I come in and I'm like, guys, did you hear the news? Jimmie Johnson's buying Petty." And then you guys both just went back to like texting on your phone.
I'm like,
I was like, guys, no, wait, no, I'm serious.
And he kept saying, I'm like, oh wait, really? And then we go on there. It's like, that happens.
Yeah. So Jordan Bianchi had reported that Johnson is finalizing a deal to obtain an ownership stake in Petty GMS starting next year. And there's a few other little things to add in too. Johnson will drive select races for the team, and an announcement is expected this week. Now, I want to say, thinking of it right now, nobody has claim to the 44 number, do they? I don't think,
Well, there was that.
Is
Well,
Brian
there's
Scott still here?
that one
New
team.
NY Racing.
NY
NY
Racing
Racing,
was
yeah.
using
The
it.
Biff.
I feel like they
but-
can obtain it.
I don't know. Maybe they go with a more GMS number, like 32.
Maybe they do 94.
They're just gonna go to Hendrick. and
94,
say-
yeah.
they're
You
just
know
gonna go-
what?
They're just gonna go to Hendrick and say, "Give it back. He can have the 88."
Hey,
Here,
can
I
they do
got-
84?
Well, I got an idea. How
Yeah.
about 49? You know why? Because 7 times 7 is 49, and you got 2 7-time champions as
Ooh,
car owners
like
now.
that.
You feel me?
Big
You
brain.
see what I did there? See what I did there?
I like
I
that.
like that. I like that a lot.
So, what are your guys' kind of overall thoughts of this? Because I'm looking at this and thinking somebody like Jimmie Johnson jumping into an ownership stake, similar to what Denny Hamlin has done in a lot of ways. I don't know how big of the stake it is yet. It might just be like a minority ownership role. It might be like how Lewis Hamilton bought into the Denver Broncos, and it's just
yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I just make money off the side.
Yeah.
It could be something like that. But I have a feeling with Johnson actually racing in the car part-time.
Yeah, it sounds like he'll be more hands-on, at least a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well, some people are even asking, would Ally dump Hendrick and Bowman? I
No,
think more than
no.
likely we would see Carvana make a switch because I feel like they could get a much better.
maybe.
I feel like they get a much better return on investment by going into NASCAR.
Michael
Yeah.
Roots in the chat, send Bowman to the 25. Give me that 48.
So really quick, I'll start off with my thoughts on this. So like first off, on the IndyCar side of things, I mean he's done with full-time driving there, but there were some rumors that he was still going to go part-time with Chip Ganassi, with possibly Kimi Räikkönen taking the rest of the races.
He'd probably want to do like the Indy 500 again.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. And then also there was some reports saying that Kimi Räikkönen was looking to be like a little co-driver teammate with his as well. The races Jimmie Johnson wouldn't race in, he would race in, he would fill in for him. But yeah, so I'm still waiting to hear official word on that end. But then as far as this NASCAR
Oh, I
stuff,
just
like
saw something good.
holy crap, this
I just-
NASCAR. Oh, well, go
I
ahead.
just
If you
saw
want to say
something
whatever.
good.
Go ahead.
Can you imagine? They're talking about different drivers coming over. Who is the big driver who's Helio Castroneves?
Yes.
Who would be in the Project 91 car for Daytona. The cutoff for the dual races, the two drivers going head-to-head to make the Daytona 500 are Helio Castroneves and Jimmie Johnson.
Yeah.
could be
That is a
exciting.
storyline.
That
That
is
will
cool.
get people watching the duels, because I don't see why he wouldn't try and get another Daytona 500. It's one of the races he's ensured to be competitive in.
So Jimmie Johnson being a whatever type of ownership stake he'll have with GMS is very interesting, because obviously a lot of us fans still associate with him with Hendrick Motorsports too. But I mean, there's a difference here. Jeff Gordon, he has a role within the team. Jimmie Johnson he's still obviously close with the two, with Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon, but he's not with the team like that. So I think it's pretty cool for him to go over to another team and, try and build something there too. So, and also, making some select Cup Series starts is basically just a bonus too. Like if it were just for the ownership stake, like that would still be a big deal even without the select Cup Series races.
Yeah.
Because because a lot of us would assume like, hey, if we were to take some type of ownership role, it would obviously be with Hendrick, right? Not the case. And like we said before the start of the show, like this is a very weird / interesting team. You have 2 7-time champions, 2 of the 3 7-time champions as car owners, and then of the same team, and then also too the driver lineup is going to consist of Eric Jones, who is still he's still moving up in my opinion, still moving up the ranks, and then Noah Gragson, who look, he's doing he's setting the world on fire in Xfinity now, but I mean, he's going to have a lot of learning to do next year full time in that next gen car. So, I mean, hey, what better help to get than, from former 7-time champions too. So that team, they've been good at times this season, but next year they're definitely one of the most intriguing teams entering 2023.
Yeah, I mean, all this is so new. So we have like 2 sentences to go off of. I mean, Jimmie Johnson investing back into NASCAR after basically spending 2 years or so away from the sport is interesting, only because everyone's waiting on the next TV deal, the next, revenue sharing agreement. And last we heard a few weeks ago, that wasn't in a great place. So I think there's a lot of tepid owners and potential owners. Dale Jr. even said on his podcast, he's basically pausing the idea of investing in and into a Cup Series charter. But here you have Jimmie Johnson investing in a Chevy team that's not Hendrick Motorsports, teaming up with Richard Petty, the King. I don't know. It's that alone is really interesting, and I'll be curious to see if this announcement does, get announced this week. Like, will they talk about what his role within the team will be? How hands-on will he be? How much is he investing? To me, that's the most important part, because while it'll be fun to see Jimmie Johnson back behind the wheel of a race car, a NASCAR race car here and there, long term, his future is ownership and coaching and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot. It's exciting to have one of NASCAR's all-time greats back and seemingly back for the long haul. But what will that role exactly look like? I don't know. If we're just talking about specific races next year, obviously you want to see him do the double if possible. Coke 600, Indy 500, if the schedule allows it, that'd be great. But besides that, I'd be nervous putting him behind the wheel of a super fast track just because of the head injury concerns with this car. But
I see.
Go for it. I don't know.
This is another thing to think of too. Between Project 91, Jimmie Johnson, maybe doing it too, Kyle Busch having the option, and even Kyle Larson, you could see, if everything fell perfectly, which is a lot of ifs, you could probably see, whether it's this year or next year, very soon, up to 4, maybe 5 drivers doing the double. That would be such a big deal across the entire motorsports landscape in America.
They could share a flight.
They really could. God help the one that if one of them actually wins the race, because the odds
they gotta
will go
stay
up.
forever. They gotta stay forever, man.
But I'm excited about this for both the short-term and the long-term stuff, because there is so much that can be gained from it on an ownership side, from a driver's side, from a mentoring side. We talk about Noah Gragson. I'm excited to see Eric Jones with how well he's done, having Jimmie Johnson as
That's a good point.
mentor.
And I think
Eric Jones is
even
a top 10 driver right now.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Jared, but on that note, even Gragson, I think the one thing he's missing is refinement. And I don't want him to refine his personality too much, but maybe his discipline behind the wheel, his fitness discipline. God, Jimmie Johnson's like the best guy you could possibly have for that. It's also all kind of falling into place as we're sitting here thinking about it, but it makes sense.
Yeah, but also, Eric, I think you made a point where you were happy that Gragson was going to the GMS Cup Series team, but also you were like, well, who is he going to learn from?
It's a weird team. Jones, Gragson, very different, both young.
And obviously Richard Petty's there, but he hasn't driven in quite some time.
Yeah.
He can only help so much. But now Jimmie Johnson's there. Like Noah Gragson, he's been with Kyle Busch, Dale Jr., and now Richard Petty and Jimmie Johnson on the same team. Oh, that's very, very, very intriguing indeed.
Well, we're going to have to wait until this week or maybe next week, next year, to learn more details about it. But guys, we got 3 championships left to decide. I think we should probably get on into that.
Oh, it's the last weekend of the season. That's crazy. I feel like we just started yesterday, man. It's crazy. It just goes by quick.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Looking at what we got right here set up. The truck race will be the Lucas Oil 150 laps. Starts at 10 p.m. Eastern time on Fox Sports 1 and then on MRN as well. It's going to be a late one, y'all. It's going to be late. Weather throughout the day is 66 and cool but sunny. No chance of rain. Last year's winner was Chandler Smith. When you look at the Xfinity race, you have the NASCAR Xfinity Series finale. It's 200 laps, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time on USA Network and MRN as well. It's going to be 70 degrees, cool, partly sunny. No chance of rain with that either. Last year's winner and champion, Daniel Hemrick. Then you got the Cup Series finale on Sunday. 312 laps, starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time on NBC and MRN. It's going to be 76 and sunny, beautiful weather, 0% chance of rain again at the moment. Last year's winner was Kyle Larson. I will note to everybody, in case you missed it, Alex Bowman will be returning to the 48 car for one last race with Greg Ives, and will also be returning to his home track. Darian, what are our championship guys' odds this week? What are the championship for? Who is Vegas picking as the favorites and the underdog among them?
So it's very weird. The site I usually get these odds from, Vegas Insider, they didn't update their betting odds at the time. So I had to go to a bunch of different places, and here's what I was able to get. Chase Elliott enters this weekend as the favorite at plus 250 to win the championship, but not too far behind is Christopher Bell at plus 300, and tied for third is both Joey Logano and Ross Chastain at plus 400. So yes, Chase Elliott's the favorite, but ought to be not by much. Now, as for the best of the rest, Kyle Larson is plus 1,200. And again, these aren't championship contenders, by the way, but guys that could potentially maybe win the race and not the championship. Kyle Larson is plus 1,200, followed by Denny Hamlin plus 1,300. Kevin Harvick and Ryan Blaney are plus 1,500, and Chase Briscoe is plus 2,000. As for the underdogs, these are very interesting indeed, because Martin Truex Jr. is plus 4,000, Kyle Busch plus 5,000, along with Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez plus 6,000, and finally Eric Jones is plus 10,000. Now, also too, we have our NWP Fantasy League standings, and at this point, give a round of applause to Trevor Sports 98. You are officially the overall league standings champion. You probably locked it up a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so I don't know. Just wanted to keep it exciting. But yeah, no, he's so far ahead now. Yeah, it's not even close. So yeah, congrats on the championship. So he clinches the championship, but we still have a tight battle for second between Toyota Tough and 48 Nation, followed by RGP Racing 2 and 4th, and finally Mahaffrey Racing or Mahaffrey Motorsport, rounding out the top 5. As for the playoff standings, though, let's see. Oh yeah, Adam Cub Racing. All he needs to do is have just at the very least an average day, and then he clinches it. So yeah, so I feel like he's good. And then the second is Trevor Sports 98, who basically had pretty much the best season out of anybody too, when you combine both the playoff and overall standings. But also Danny B wife in third. Yeah, she could potentially finish with the top 3 run. That's cool.
I blew it in both. I was in the top 5 in both overall and playoffs, and now I'm 8th in both. I don't know what I did.
Stuff happens, man. These are really competitive. This league's competitive. And then Mahaffrey Motorsport is in 4th, and rounding out the top 5 is our very own Denny Delivers. Yeah, congrats, man.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well,
so last week. So if you want to make up some spots, now's the time to do it.
I wanna make sure the chat is up on my end so I can see the reaction here.
Oh yeah.
The pick points heading in amongst us and the chat. The chat still has a very, very narrow lead. They have 581 total points. Eric, you are only 3 points behind.
3 points, y'all.
It's a toss-up. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
3 races this weekend?
Yep.
Chat.
You really have to let the chat pick first, because if you picked, they could just go for exactly whatever you had and just let it.
Yep. And the thing is that these are only 2 in it. Me, Danny, and Darian are all mathematically eliminated, because I think the most you can get is 42 in a weekend. And I'm third, 55 back. I have jumped up to third. I'm as surprised as anyone else. Danny is 4th, minus 58, and Darian is taking up the basement, minus 61. But really, this year...
Only 6 points spread apart, though. That's crazy.
This year, the basement's turned into like a half basement that you kind of already can see the floor level.
Yeah,
so
it's been pretty close.
We just all kind of keep taking turns getting out of it. But I will say I stayed in third for a long part of this year, and I hate to have just lost it in the final week.
Well, no, you can get it back. You can get it back, man.
So what we're going to do is... And because I trust that you guys have the integrity and I have the integrity that we're not all going to pick the same and all that stuff. No matter what the order is. So I'll start off, then we'll have Danny, Darian.
I mean, what if you had who was going to pick?
No, I'm saying if we did it like in any other order, like we're going to have me, Danny, Darian, then the chat, and once the chat puts in their picks after the 3 of us, Eric will put in his pick. That way, if it's the same, it's the same. Let's start off with the Truck Series race. When it comes to these championship races, I like to go with the hot hand. And I think the hottest hand in the Truck Series right now is Ty Majeski. I'm going with Ty Majeski winning this one.
Well, I think a little bit opposite of you. I think that history matters in this case, and it did this last year, but he is now Chandler Smith is who I have winning the championship, and it'll be a unique way for KBM and Toyota to go out.
Now, really quick, just want to make sure. So the championship for trucks: Ty Majeski, Zane Smith, Chandler Smith, and then Ben Rhodes. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, Ty Majeski has the hot hand. But then, how many guys have we seen have the hot hand in the final race of the season before and then just completely falter, whether it's their fault or to no fault of their own. And then, I do like Smith, but it's a different kind of Smith. Zane Smith, I think, will finally pull it off and win the Truck Series championship.
Well, looking at the chat right now, I think they're going. It looks like
it's a lot of Zane Smith.
Oh. I think the chat is going to go with Zane Smith this week.
It's fairly split, but I do see a lot more Zane Smith than anyone else in this.
It looks like a lot of Zane to me.
We're going to give him Zane.
All right.
Which isn't a bad pick.
Chat.
He's got the experience. He's young, but this is his third straight Truck Series championship for.
And remember, last year, he only had like 4 top 10s last year, too. So
Not in last year. This year, a little more dominant, but, his wins, for the most part, all kind of came early in the season. In fact, I think they all came in the first 8. So talking about Jarrett, what have you done for me lately a little bit? I don't know. I'm a little nervous about Zane Smith, which is why I'm going with his not brother, Chandler Smith. I agree. I think KBM winning on their way out of Toyota would be pretty hilarious. So.
Hey, just like last year, nobody picked Ben Rhodes. Again,
oh my
like
gosh!
And look what happened. Look what happened again.
Powered by his best friend Bud.
Hey, dude, what if Ben Rhodes wins it again with none of us picking? The chat, I only saw like 1 or 2 people in the chat picking Ben Rhodes. Like, even the defending champion gets no respect again. Watch him prove us wrong again.
I hope he wins it just for the simple fact I want to see him get drunk again. That was great.
Yeah, that's funny.
Let's go to the Xfinity Series. Starting off, I'm just realizing this is like the first time I've started off since like the start of the year, so I'm not used to it anymore.
I have a feeling we probably all have the same person for this one, but let's see.
Let's see.
I mean, this man has not failed me very much. I'm going with Noah Gragson.
I'm also going with Noah Gragson.
I am not. I'm going to go with another junior motorsports driver. We talked about him earlier. He's won here before. He barely got in. This is his 5th appearance. I think Justin Allgaier somehow, some way, pulls it off.
You're going with the Hamlin of the series.
Yeah, I am going with him. So let's see what happens here. Justin Allgaier.
Okay, the chat is
unanimous. Is clearly going with Gregson.
It's not even close. Yeah, not even close.
Yeah. I mean, you look, so trucks didn't race at Phoenix this year, but Xfinity did. And you look, Justin Allgaier finished 10th. Not too bad. Ty Gibbs finished 6th. Okay, pretty good. Josh Berry finished 3rd at Phoenix. Hey, now. But I got to go with Noah Gragson. He won. So, I'll agree. I'll go Gragson. You're welcome, chat.
I'm just realizing if Gragson finishes ahead of Allgaier, Darian is like kissing 3rd goodbye. He's not getting 3rd or 4th.
Yeah. Oh, well.
All right, let's get our suck picks in. With this one, I don't think we have to worry about the order. So, Eric, start us off for suck and dark horse ones. Who do you think is gonna suck this week?
Suck. I'll just pick on him. Ty Gibbs.
I'm gonna go with the guy who we talked about sucking earlier, Kyle Busch.
I'm at a grant. He thought it was bad at that one. I feel like if he gets out there and it's the same type of car, he's literally gonna park that and walk away.
Yeah.
Even with all the fans' faces on the car.
What a way to end the car.
He'll do enough at the beginning of the race to pay tribute to that, and then if it's bad, he's getting out.
I think isn't M&M's wrapping the pace car, because I think it's a Toyota pace car, and Toyota's saying, "Hey, M&M's, you can wrap it or whatever." Yep. So there's gonna be a lot of M&M's out there.
All right, so this guy's coming back, and I'm not doing it to pick on him too. It's just he's been out of the car for a while, so I'll go with Alex Bowman. It's
not too great a track in recent memory.
Yeah.
It was good like the first time. That was it.
You know what? There's no clear, concise one for the chat, but I'm gonna to be fair, so that nothing weird happens. I'm gonna give you guys Almirola.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I've seen either him or Custer, so either one's about the same at this point.
I'm gonna give you Almirola so that you guys don't get trolled by an accident.
Cole Custer was like top 5 all last week until the end. Just saying.
So
hot hand.
Well, who's your dark horse pick?
Cole Custer. Yeah, sure. Cole
Go
Custer.
for it,
why
man.
not? We've
Why
been
not?
trashing him
Yeah.
all year.
It don't matter at this point.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he from California? I know this is Arizona, but it's close. It's kind of a West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the dry air will suit him well. Be good for his skin or something. I don't know. I think isn't it the opposit? Isn't it usually like humidity is good for your skin?
Arizona, the Florida of the West.
I thought that was Las Vegas.
No, Arizona's way crazy.
I feel like there's more Las Vegas man stories than Florida man.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski on this one.
I'm going to be opposite of Darian. I don't think he's going to win it by any means, but I feel like in his last race of Greg Ives, Bowman's going to, and coming back from a while not in the car, he's going to want to have a good race this one at his home track. So put Bowman down for the underdog on this one.
I'm gonna go with Chase Briscoe. He won the race in the spring, obviously, and if he was in the championship 4, you know damn well I would pick him to win the championship anyway. But yeah, no, I think I'll have a decent run to end this season.
And I'm looking in the chat, and I'm going to be honest, there's no clear one again, but the one I keep seeing pop up is either 45 or 48, and we don't really need a poll because it don't matter.
Doesn't count for points. Give him 48. I just saw 3 in a row.
Yeah, I just saw 3 in a row. No,
So-
make it 4 in a row. 5 in a row, yeah. So do 48.
We got a lot of
45.
Bowmans in there. All right.
Yeah. All right.
The moment of
yeah.
truth.
I only get to do this 2 more times, all for the rest of 2022. So I got to make it count. All right, fellas, who's gonna win?
Wait, 2 more times. This is
Did
the
he blow?
last race.
Darian talk? Or did you blow your mic out?
Oh wait, this is the last time. That's right. We only have 2 more shows.
Yeah.
It's the last race of the year, dude.
That's right. All right, let me do it again. One more time. For the last time this season.
And you need to reset your mic. You're very low right now.
All right, hold on.
Do.
How do I sound now?
Yeah, you sound like you.
All right, cool. For the last time all season, who's gonna win?
I feel for you on Spotify because every time he
who-
blows out his mic, he must be like, what am
He's
I
getting-
waiting for?
He's getting quieter every time.
I give
Yeah.
up. Who's gonna win the finale at Phoenix?
I'll
It
start
just
off
sounds like
on-
he's censoring himself. Who's gonna?
I'll start off on this one. Guys, I picked him before. I doubted him at times, and he proved me wrong to prove me right, and he's going to prove me right and be clutch again. It's going to be like, what is this, the 4th time that somebody has made it as a walk-off win into the final race to win the championship. Going Christopher Bell. Going Christopher Bell.
Ooh.
I am also on this same train. Christopher Bell, let's ride.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Talked about him earlier. Well, we talked about a lot of guys earlier, but this guy I talked about earlier. I feel like him and this team, they've been waiting. They've just been coasting throughout the entire playoffs, waiting to step up when it counted the most. Chase Elliott is a 2-time Cup Series champion.
Good pick.
The chat is going fast, but I am seeing the 1 more than any other number so far.
Well, we know David Bell in the chat's swaying them to pick the 20, of course.
It's close.
I feel like, though, if I put up the final 4 again, it's just going to be redundant from earlier because they picked Chastain in that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I would say
Do the
I've
top
seen-
3?
I've seen 1, and I've seen 9 and 20. Not as many people are doing 22, but I've seen 1, 9, and 20 more.
Well, remember the 22 got the least votes to begin with anyway. So
Yeah,
I'm not
so
seeing
you
as
wanna
many right now.
Let's do 1, 9, and 20.
1, 9,
I'm
and
committed.
20.
I know who I'm gonna pick, and I don't want to pick differently, even if they do. But I do want.
So-
I don't want them to skew their vote based on what I'm
Let's-
gonna pick.
Let's get this poll up so they can answer this, and then Jarrett
Yeah.
can read super chats.
I mean,
and,
I think
We
they'll
just give it
vote
a
pretty
minute.
quick. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
vote. They'll vote for pretty quick, and then Eric will have his ready to go. But if it is immediate, it's immediate to leave. Going to Ross Chastain the first 40-some votes.
Oh,
Yeah, let it get to 100. Let's see what it's at when it's 100.
Oh,
I
it'll
think we should
probably
put-
get to 200 pretty quick.
yeah.
Because it's going between the 1 and the 9. Should we just whittle it down
Well,
the whole time?
On that note, I think it's safe for me to make my pick. So I agree with your philosophy, Jarrett. I'm super excited to see the black and yellow colors racing for a championship once again. Christopher Bell is my championship pick.
And
All right.
I think
And now two minutes in the chat are like, oh crap.
they're over 100 votes. They're going Chastain. It looks like. He's got a 2-time champion crew chief, Adam Stevens, working with them. His pit crew has been on it lately. They've won twice in the clutch already these playoffs. What's one more time? I don't know.
I just thought about this. Oh, go ahead.
My only concern is that I feel like flat tracks typically are Toyota strengths, and this has been a weird year for Toyota where they struggle at Martinsville, they struggle at road courses, so I'm a little worried about that, but I think Bell and Stevens will overcome it.
Hey, the
answer is not unanimous now.
No.
We're gonna do another poll.
Yeah, but really quick, I just thought about this too. How do you think Adam Stevens feels? Like, oh, dang, Kyle Busch, I used to work with you, but man, look at you now. You know, I'm competing for a championship, bro.
I just think it's showing you how good Adam Stevens is. That he's been to the championship 3 times with 2 different drivers in like 7 years. Like that's pretty impressive.
Because wasn't there a falling out with him and Kyle Busch, or they just got moved?
There was a personnel disagreement. I think if I remember, Kyle Busch wanted a few changes, and it basically led to like a breakup entirely.
I'm gonna say this right here. I called that back when it happened. That was the dumbest move he possibly could have done. And it proved it. Adam Stevens has won in the end.
Adam Stevens must be feeling himself now. Like, man, Kyle, you needed me.
And I put the poll out asking who wins the Cup championship, and right now it's almost a landslide. Chastain 62-38 over Chase Elliott. So
let's just see. That's how it started off last time.
Let's see. We had 2 Bell picks. Darren, you're going Chase Elliott.
We had 3.
You went Bell as well, Danny? Okay.
Yeah.
So we 3 Bell and an Elliott, and now we're looking.
Again, everyone's discrediting Logano. I'm worried about Joey. I'm just saying he's had 2 extra weeks to prepare.
Really, the only difference between me and Jarrett is going to be the truck pick.
The truck pick might actually determine which person finishes 3rd. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
I mean, we're closing in on 200 votes, and he just gained another % on Elliott. I think their pick's Chastain.
Yeah.
Good luck, chat.
Official.
Good luck, chat.
God help them if they're like good all weekend and then Bell ends up winning it over him. But yeah, we're gonna end the poll there. And while we have over 600 in here watching right now, be sure to watch the finale next week where we'll talk all of these races and everything else on Eric's channel. Gonna be really fun. Last one of the year, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be what, November 9th?
9th, yes. Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
And it'll be all over for another year.
All right, let's get to super chats here to end off the night. And I know there's at least one more coming in because I got notified about it a little bit. But it's gonna be a fun. We're gonna end the show out in a fun way, I think. Starting off with Jeff Cook for 10. No rule needed for the Ross Chastain move. Throw a caution when someone's in the wall. Also, Brad's DQ isn't talked about. How is the car lighter with single source parts? Acid dip back on the menu?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Good question.
Yeah.
Antar Das for 2 says, that move wasn't exciting because I'm a sad Hamlin fan. Andrew Mayer for 5. The thing that's so infuriating about Ty Gibbs is that he's talented enough to not need to resort to dirty driving tactics to win races, yet he does. I'll say this, like, I think one day he will right the ship on a lot of this stuff. A 35 to 40-year-old Ty Gibbs kind of scares me talent-wise because it reminds me of Kyle Busch when he finally matured.
Yeah, once he matures, and hey, maybe Ty Gibbs might mature way sooner than Kyle Busch did too. If that happens, oh my gosh.
Steve, thank you for the 5. Eric, when are the pit shirts shipping? Also, Petty GMS is legit in 2023.
Both the T-shirts, I'm not shipping them from my place. They're being shipped from a separate location, a separate warehouse. Actually, they're being shipped straight from the person who's printing them, I think, in both the T-shirt and the crew shirt.
Wait, hold on, Eric. You mean your Groovy car is not in your own garage?
No, and I don't have a T-shirt and crew shirt printing press in my spare bedroom. Shocking. But they should be going. I think some of them should be going out already. I'm not sure. There's different. I know it's one person really shipping all of them out. But he's got the capacity to handle many. I know we sold over, I don't know the exact number. It was multiple hundreds of shirts. So we'll see. It should be coming soon.
All right. That's my dad. Thank you to my dad for the 100.
gun. That's
Yeah.
your dad?
That's his fantasy team name too.
Now we know who to fear. Fear the gun.
The
Yeah.
gun.
He said, "Hey
Whoa.
Jared, do the scold chant for the last 20 seconds of the show. Happy birthday." Thanks, Dad. I will. I will. We'll end off on a scold chant.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't see y'all last night. I gotta, well, he must have told you.
No, he's coming down here this week.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who was here last night? Well,
my-
I don't want to say. I don't want to say that on here.
My mom and grandparents. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
he was not there last night.
Okay.
But thank you. And yeah, thanks for the happy birthday too. Gavin Adcock, thank you for being a member for 4 months. Chrome Diesel, thank you for the 2. If NASCAR keeps playoffs, then brace manipulation. Okay.
Is he saying embrace manipulation?
I
like
think-
just accept that's going to happen?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
Real
feel-
quick.
I think you can still draw a line somewhere.
Real quick, I see Napa Racing Fan 927. He leaves
Yep.
these in the chat each week. Our NFL NWP standings, and for once I'm ahead. I haven't been the top one
I'm
ever.
last. Never mind. Oh no, I'm not last. Never mind.
No, you're not even close to last.
That's right.
My team took care of who's last week.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's ran for four
We-
200-yard
we-
games against.
We
Kentucky.
had a rookie quarterback, and Derrick Henry finally having a good game, and that helped us win.
Yeah.
Hey, my Astros, knock on wood, are looking like they're about to tie up the World Series.
Oh,
so
nice.
I'll
There
hang
you
my
go.
hat on that one.
Nice. Go Texans.
Yeah.
And I do want to say this while I'm leaving in there. A lot of people leaving happy birthdays. Thank you to everybody who's said so many kind things. It means a lot.
Mhm.
It does. Let's get back to where I was before. Clone Squadron Radio, thank you for the 10. Will be NASCAR fans. What? Will be NASCAR fans with birthday in August? I'm sorry. I'm trying.
See, some of the way some of these guys word it, I appreciate the support.
Yeah,
but
I just-
yeah.
You can ask these guys. I already have a tough enough time reading stuff, and then anytime I get tripped up. But thank you for the 10. Alex, thank you for the 5. If Truex does not win Sunday, that'll be the first time since Kenseth in 2014. And he says, sorry, Eric. When the driver second in the points one year goes winless the next.
Oh,
What a
Dang.
wild stat. Why'd you have to pull that one out? Like, why?
because
like,
he
can you pull
knew
that-
he knew it was you.
Why would you have to? Why did you? Yeah.
Marky Mark, thank you for the 2. In terms of Cup and Xfinity, anyone but Ty Gibbs. Cavante Caldwell, thank you for the 5. If the last 2 years have told us anything, no matter who Eric picks, they're going to dominate the race and finish second. Brad and Truex, still the GOAT, though.
I was so sure of my Truex pick last year, and it looked
Same.
brilliant until that final cycle of pit stops.
You and I were both like on that train for weeks. We might go the same way with Bell.
Yeah, watch that happen. Can't trust these Gibbs cars. Ugh.
I want to thank 670 Package Win for both the 5 and the 10 here. Says in 1, Larson is still my favorite, but Chastain is now my permanent number 2. And every NASCAR video has at least one person claiming to have watched for decades saying how much they dislike the sport now. NASCAR fans are really something else. I agree with you.
How you going? I
Yeah.
don't even know what to do. That's weird.
I'm enjoying it. Jace, thank you for the 5. Hey guys, what do you think of the sprints on ice video? Is that the one over in Europe, the ice racing?
Is it the Euro NASCAR?
I think he's talking
Oh,
about. I think he's talking about that. Yeah.
That I guess they've been kind of doing sprint cars on ice for a little while. I've seen that for a little while now.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
That's
Honestly,
cool though.
I'm sitting here as like a dude that grew up in the Midwest, just being like, I did that a lot. I kid. They're much more talented than me. 670 Package Win. Thank you for another 2. More like Ty Gibbs. Me attention, please. That was bad. But thank you. Either way, it made me chuckle. Alex Luft, thank you for the 10. I've noticed something every even number year since the playoffs started. Whoever wins Martinsville wins the Cup. The only exception was 2014. I'm calling it now. I think Bell's going to win. I will listen to that stat.
Whoa.
That's a good stat. That makes me feel happy.
That's a good.
Yes. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 5. It will be fun to see Brandon Jones become a JRM teammate one race early and have revenge on Ty Gibbs. As a
That's
JRM
what-
fan, having 5 JRM cars will be fun.
And you know what? People on whoever's working on the 19 his crew, I don't think they would mind, him helping them either.
God, even Logano in 2015, I don't think was this universally.
Hey, Ty Gibbs, is not even full time in the Cup Series yet.
Hey, as a Matt Kenseth fan, I will say I don't think Logano ever did anything as blatant as what Ty Gibbs did this past weekend.
No. TJ Moorehead, thank you for the 5. Who ends up in the 18 if it comes down to NASCAR telling Joe Gibbs that Ty can't, or isn't it ready, or is the car ready for next? I don't think NASCAR is going to keep.
No, they ain't going to do that.
Yeah, they're not going to say Gibbs can't race Cup next year.
He's already racing. He's already
racing this weekend.
Yeah, he'll be in the 18. Thomas, thank you for the $4.99. Hey Eric, I bought one of your T-shirts, and it hasn't shipped yet. Also, if I'm Brandon Jones, I'm wrecking and junking Ty Gibbs. Well, we already talked about the stuff with the shirt shipping. So
they should be. I'll check on it. A lot of it's out of my jurisdiction. Well, not out of my jurisdiction, but I don't have physical control. I can't go to where. I think they're shipping out of like the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which I mean sounds close by because I live in Texas, but that's actually 4.5 hours. So I will check on that and hopefully give you all an update.
GN NASCAR fan 24, thanks for the 5. Ty, no video games for a week. I'm also taking your juice box privileges away. In all seriousness, though, if Ty Gibbs is still learning, go back to late models. Late model drivers will probably treat him worse.
Oh no,
well.
they would beat his ass if he did some stuff like that.
If he did that at the fairgrounds, he'd need security to get out. But the Avatar Cora, thank you for the $1.99. The Avatar boos Harvick and says, "Thank you, Grandpa." Jar Jar Binks, Misa moi happy Misa got to boo doo head Harvick this Sunday at Martinsville. He's a big cheater boy. Misa wants Yusa to chant thank you Grandpa. We're not going to chant thank you Grandpa, but your super chat is noted. 670 package win, another 5. Ty Gibbs is going to find out that HMS is the favorite child in Cup, and he's not ready for it. As a Kyle Larson fan, it's honestly true. Okay. NASCAR Shill, thank you for the 2. Ty Gibbs is the heel. It's marketable and good for the sport. That's what I was saying. I guess I'm a NASCAR shill. You would not have guessed that 5 years ago. Jar Jar left another 2. Misa thinks Ty Gibbs Nisa to go to Hisa room. And says, thank Yusa Grandpa. Movement, thank you for becoming I swear Movement you've become a member like 3 times, but either way, thank you for coming on. And also thank you for the 5. Been a Bell fan since 2016, and finally seeing him going for a Cup championship this week is unreal. Need for Speed 5353, we talked about his earlier. It just refreshed on me. One second, I get back to it. It says, we all know that Ty Dillon is the real Ty Jesus. She-Rank 24-4, thank you for becoming a member as well. NASCAR Chill again for 5. There's no better way to send a message than punching a guy in the face and knocking him to the ground. Eric Estepp is pro physical assault confirmed. I feel like that's what I said. Right. Shorty, thank you for the 5 this weekend. Plus the next is everything. Bubba's back. Best ever championship 4. Reddick isn't hurt. Bowman will be back. Yes. # year of the Joey Logano.
There's a lot of good things happening, I guess. That's a good point. Hopefully ending on a high note. I just hope that like oasis in the sky eating your food 150 feet above the track. I'm hoping that cable doesn't snap or somebody drops like a
please don't. Yeah, please, we don't want nobody splattered on the track, bro.
I just don't want them to drop like food on Chase Elliott's windshield.
No, they drop something on the last lap, like a drink container or something. Someone runs over it, and then
the track is wet.
Yeah, because of that or something.
K Massey 2404, thank you for the 5. Hey Eric, would you consider cutting out the deck lid names and sending them out with the die casts? It's awesome to have a chance to be a part of this.
Oh, like cutting the actual. Oh, I don't even know if that's possible.
I mean, because they're so packed together, though, right?
Well, it would take a long time if it was as easy as just cutting it with scissors. I don't like once it's stuck onto the sheet metal. I don't know. Can we take the decal off? I'm going to say that's probably not going to happen. That's probably not possible. But if it is, I'll ask because that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That'd be
But I
neat.
appreciate you coming on board. Everyone who signed up for that first 250 to pre-order diecast got on the car. That was awesome. I'm stoked that so many people are getting to ride along with us this weekend.
Alexander Gamerson, thank you for the 5 Canadian. Who was everyone's well, we gave our picks for the championship, but he gave these as the descriptions. Ross, the Giga Chad Melon Man. Overrated sliced bread Elliot. I take it he's not an Elliot fan.
There we go.
The Church Bell or Mr. Giggles.
Mr. Giggles.
Got that from Roots. You got that from Michael.
Oh, you guys' imagination never ceases to amaze me. I love it. Cake 5171, thank you for the 555. If Chastain has a black and red paint scheme for Phoenix, it's a lock. Both his wins and the 99's win and the wall ride happened in black and red paint scheme.
Well,
cars.
he doesn't have black and red. He has black and blue.
Halfway there. Sly's Supersonic, thank you for the 844. Hey guys, how are you, my Fantastic Four? Just a quick drop in I'm still at work, and then he's Christopher Bell for the win, Chandler Smith for the win.
Ooh,
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for asking. I got this pimple on my face, but hey, other than that, I'm good.
TMI. Alex, thank you for the 2. Who are your picks for the Owners' Championship? I think we're all in agreement, except Darian. Darian, who wins the Owners' Championship? Because Elliot's not in it.
Oh, Larson, right? Isn't
Yeah, Larson's in the Owners.
Is Elliot the one who's not in it? Is Chastain?
I don't know.
Chastain beat him in the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
So,
I got
yeah.
Larson. I got Larson.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Rick Hendrick's not in. Well, no, Larson. Never mind. He is.
So-
Okay.
But no matter what, Rick Hendrick cannot win both championships this week.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. I just realized that. Okay, so Larson's in it. Chastain.
Oh no, he
who are the-
can win.
He
He can
could.
win both. But
Larson
let's
won.
be real.
Elliot P2. That's what he needs.
Let's be real.
Okay,
The
okay.
championship 4 guys probably gonna win. It would be. I think it'd be awesome. Is that you get a random guy to win up front, and then you get let's see, you get someone to win up front. You get Larson in second, and then you get somebody in the actual driver championship 4, and you have 3 burnouts all at once.
That'd be cool.
That'd be so confusing and for new fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or imagine if they did that deal that the Penske trio did last year in Nashville.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would sell itself as a T-shirt. Cavante, thank you for the $4.99. Let's not forget Larson is fighting for the Owners. Of course, my dad left the one to do the Skull chant for the last 20 seconds of the show. These poor people on the audio version are just gonna be. There's bound to be an angry Packer fan out there listening to it. It was like, man, I don't want to hear this crap. Well, deal.
Bye. Bye.
Napa Racing Fan 927. Thank you for the 5.
Would they rather hear you talk about the Vikings or me talk about the Vols 24/7?
Good point. We'll probably drinking game for both. But Napa Racing Fan 927 for 5 says, I want 3 burnouts on Sunday. Race winner, Larson for the Owners Championship, and whoever's the driver champion. I believe the 12 wins, 5 owners, 20 drivers. I want the 48, 5, and 9 in the top 3. And then Shorty was another 5. By the way, Bubba was the lone non-playoff driver that got a top 10. Really? Of the top 16. Right? No. How would that make sense if there were 8 in it?
I think he means that of
She.
drivers that
She.
were in the playoffs. I think, right? Or
Maybe.
Yeah. And
I
short,
don't
she.
sorry.
10th top 10 of 2022. And then Year of Joey Logano will happen. Ross Crash Stain for 2. When is the romance novel reading stream coming? In probably December or January.
It's happening. Have
Yes.
you gotten your hand on any of these books?
I found one by Liz Allison, and I found it for free online, so that I can just pull it up on my computer and not just have to keep doing this and talking to the mic. I can talk into the mic. It's gonna be a
That's gonna
riot.
be funny.
It's like 400 pages.
I think I'm gonna get like a 6-pack or a 12-pack of Corona and limes. Just drink the whole time. Just
I might. I won't drink too much. I'll get some of my wild turkey out there and have a few of that. We got 2 more here. Trevor Bailey, thank you for the 5. Had fun doing NWP Fantasy this year. Championship picks, Trucks, Zane Smith. Xfinity, Noah Gragson, baby. Noah Nation. That's what he says in it. Cup, Ross Chastain. And then
Well, thanks for playing, man.
And then JS Ski for 2. Next video game move is to go backwards mid-race.
No, well, I don't want to see people die, so no.
Yeah.
I'm good.
And that will cover it. Join us next week on Wednesday night, November 9th, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Eric's channel for the finale. This is it until February 1st next year. So if you haven't been in, if you're watching this back or listening back, or if you want to watch it live, this is your last chance of 2022 to do it. But we're going to go through everything with the finale, the entire season, our favorite moments, stuff with favorite moments on the show, preview stuff for the off season, and everything you need to know to follow us through to 2023.
And we'll be talking about that. Eric Estepp out of the group car that's racing this weekend.
Yeah. Set a reminder, 6 p.m. Eastern Saturday on USA Network. Honestly, who knows? It's not going to get like spotlighted on TV likely. I'm hoping for a top 20 run.
Well, in qualifying it will, right?
It should at least get seen during the qualifying
That's
session.
what I was going to say is tune in. I don't remember exactly what time it is, but earlier in the day on Saturday, tune into qualifying. See what happens.
I'm hoping for sure.
I'm hoping they either pronounce my name right if they say Eric Estepp. If they say Estepp, that's fine. But I really want to know if they say out of the groove, if they have any idea what this is. If I want to hear Rick Allen say something about my car. I want the words out of the groove, whatever, to come out of Rick Allen's mouth.
I'm still expecting it to be Dale Jr. and he says, "Now this guy's got a good YouTube channel."
If he
about
says
NASCAR.
that would be amazing.
When did Dale Jr. turn into Southern Chris Collinsworth?
Now here's a channel.
now here's a channel. Here's a channel, Rick. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
2:30 p.m. Eastern Time is the qualifying. That's when you can catch
Danny.
that. I don't know. I guess it'd be on the USA for the qualifying session.
Hopefully it's on USA. Hopefully it's not just NBC Sports that. That would be lame for the championship. But they would pull some crap like that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Well,
he's putting on some.
I don't see why it wouldn't be on USA. So.
Oh, Chris Carter jersey. I see.
You gotta do a skull chant right. You gotta have a Viking jersey on, and I figured I copied my dad's.
You only have a million to choose from.
I have my dad's old Chris Carter jersey, so figure.
Cool.
End out with that. All right, Skull. Come on, Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
Titans.
Skull.
This
Skull.
feels like a
Tighten up.
cult.
My team.
Derrick Henry.
My team is winning
Ryan
more than your
Tannehill.
guys's. Skull.
Jeffrey Simmons.
Skull.
Titans. Titans.
Danny, shut up. It's a skull
Titans.
chant. Not a. When your team doesn't lose more than one game, we can start talking.
was gonna say we've only had 2 losses.
Skull. All right, y'all.
Goodbye.
See you next week. Bye bye.
R.I.P. Taylor.
Go Balls.
Green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Woo-hoo! Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes!